Good Friday morning to everyone. KJ here. We're in the 5th day of the Lori Daybell trial. It's the first week, y'all. Don't know exactly who is on the agenda other than we are going to get back with Lieutenant, I believe his name's Duncan. They're going to have more testimony from him. Remember, he is the law enforcement officer who brought in evidence, what was it, 404B evidence of Charles Vallow's murder. This is under the Idaho Criminal Rules of Evidence. It was able to be brought in because of the prior bad acts. So that was something interesting that we all, I didn't know that it would come in or whether it would not, but I just want y'all to know that I'm getting my ass kicked covering this, but I'm doing it for all the Rays on here. We've worked too hard for 2 years not to go down this road together. Good morning, Tina Reddington, CC Johnson, 67, Just Looking, Beverly, other people on here. You got Brad R, VC, Renee, Anna Brown, Eliz Witt. Folks, I'm gonna, let's see, we got Miss O, CHP, Ron Hensley, Barbara Porter, Donna Donald, Betsy's Barn. There's many Rays on here. And by the way, I just want to reach out to all the Rays on here. Thank y'all so much for being patient with me with this increased activity on this live stream. Y'all know I've got all the Rays on here in the forefront of my mind. Jody Allen, Cat Shark 1, Language of Horses, Butterbean Queen, Annie Thyme, Brad R, Philly, Judy Burgess. I know who the Rays are on here. Grammy B, Marie. Good morning, all. I hope everyone's going to have a great weekend. Let's see, got Barb H1, Angela Williams, Private 91, Chris Arnett, Stephanie SG, Rita Lou, Cleta Newbie, Okie Dokie, Becky Slaughter, Teresa Moore. Thank y'all again for all of y'all showing up on this Friday morning's testimony in the Lori Daybell trial. Good morning, Tanya, C, Beach Bum, Kayleen. Hey, folks, I want to share this with y'all quickly. A lot of y'all just listen, but some of y'all look at old KJ's mug. But here we have yesterday, this was posted on Nate Eaton's wall. Everybody take a look. Let me get it where they are repeating it here. Here's Melanie Gibb in her big floppy hat. She's walking in. She's wearing an extra shirt like she's some freaking movie star. She's coming in. That was for yesterday, y'all. I have a lot to say about yesterday, but right now, let me just get you updated very quickly before we go into today's session. Nate Eaton says, back in the courtroom, Lori is wearing a black jacket and a white cream-colored pants with a pattern on them. Larry and Kay Woodcock are in the courtroom with family members. Annie Cushing is also here. Chandler Police Detective Nathan Duncan will be back on the stand this morning. So he's corrected me on that, y'all. It wasn't Lieutenant. It was Police Detective Duncan. He will be on the stand this morning. Justin Lum says here at the Ada County Courthouse for day 5 of testimony, it's been a long week with a lot of evidence. We'll start today's thread here. Now, y'all listen up. Justin Lum is calling out somebody's birthday. Today is Nate Eaton's birthday. So go to Nate News Now when you get a chance. Let him know if you attend his courtroom insider every evening after testimony. Please let him know how much you appreciate Nate Eaton. Happy birthday, Nate Eaton. There's been a lot of birthdays here lately, y'all. Lori Vallow just got seated. She has a black blazer and white pants with black patterns on them. Jim Archibald pours her a cup of water. She's talking to both attorneys. Thank you, Kelly Cantrell. Yes, Carol M., second phone. Yes, yesterday was direct examination of Melanie Gibb and cross-examination of Melanie Gibb. Now, let's just keep in mind that the state has made it known through legal documents that Melanie Gibb is on the list for a rebuttal case with the state to prove Lori's alibi is a crock of crap, okay? So we'll see Melanie Gibb again. But I want to bring up a few things as we wait on more updates here, that Melanie Gibb's testimony left out a lot of things, either in direct examination, and John Thomas had so many missed opportunities. I know the Rays on here know what I'm talking about. He could have brought out so much. Of course, we want a conviction, and we are trying our best to have faith in the state's case. So just because I bring this up, y'all know how I feel about Melanie Gibb. The bottom line is that John Thomas could have very well asked many questions about Melanie Gibb's idea of going back and forth. Remember, she said she was staying in Tylee's room and that David Warwick was in JJ's room. Well, that last police interview that all of us are very well aware of, she says quite clearly that she was in that room with David Warwick the whole night. She was sleeping with him, okay? And here she is saying back and forth to Tylee in JJ's room, which is a crock of crap, okay? So, and then there was other things too, and we'll get to it, but to have the state put her on the stand as someone credible to educate the jurors on Chad and Lori and all of their crazy-ass beliefs, and she's the one that's going to educate everybody, let me tell you what. We'll get to this too. Chad Daybell's blessing. How serious is it when a juror hears the big old fat chin there crying in his blessing? To me, if I was a juror and I had never heard of any of this, and I heard him on there crying like he was, I would say these people really seriously believe this crap. Okay, that's what I'm saying. So anyway, we know that Detective Duncan's going to be back on the stand this morning. We don't know who is going to be slated after him. But again, we're going to do the best we can, y'all, to do what? To get justice through understanding. Detective Nate Duncan with the Chandler Police was on the stand yesterday, questioned about the murder of Charles Vallow in Arizona. Prosecutors wanted to submit evidence that the defense had issues with, since it's a separate case. The state argued Idaho Rule 404B says evidence is admissible to prove motive. And by the way, in the law, the jury instructions, motive does not have to be proven. But for many of y'all that watch these trials, they brought in all those financial crimes of Alex Murdaugh that had nothing really to do with the actual murders of his wife and son, but it showed a pattern, prior bad acts of the motive. So the only thing really, criminal intent has to be proven, and I think we've already gotten that even after the first day. Don't y'all agree? This is a lot for the jurors to have to absorb. Detective Duncan takes the stand. We are waiting for the jury, okay? Anyway, so as many of y'all know, KJ has a way about myself. I think I've labeled John Thomas the Jiffy Burger Boy. And of course, many of y'all, if you're smart, you'll go to the community wall where we all stay in our community. I wanted, the Jiffy Burger Boy. There's a Jiffy Burger joint here in Tennessee. That's where I come up with that. I was going to say the Shoney's Big Boy, but some people don't know what Shoney's is. It's this big old boy holding up this great big hamburger. But after yesterday's cross-examination of Melanie Gibb, I've had to kind of reevaluate that. Y'all think maybe that John Thomas is wimpy, a Popeye? I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. He was wimpy yesterday. He had so many chances to ask so many different questions. He just didn't never get to it. Melanie Gibb got through direct and cross-examination relatively unscathed. And y'all, I have to confess this. I wanted to see her ass pucker. I wanted to see her on that. We can't see her, obviously. That's why we're here doing blow by blow with Justin Lum and Nate Eaton. The bottom line is I wanted to see her uncomfortable. And she walks into that courthouse wearing a floppy hat, a shirt over her outfit there like she's some dang movie star. It doesn't get past me, y'all, that maybe she doesn't want anyone to see her, because I think a lot of people realize just how this woman rolls. And I think she's not very popular right now. Prosecution has not said anything about charges in Maricopa County at this point. We could get there with testimony. And this was an answer from Justin Lum when someone said, is the jury aware that Lori has charges pending for Charles's murder? I don't know, y'all. I didn't think any of it would come in. And I'll tell you something. I posted on the community wall, Sharon Wheeler did an interview with Nate and Justin. She is the ex-wife of Charles Vallow. They have 2 sons together. Her interview, I posted it because she was dead on. First of all, she was quite surprised that type of prior bad acts would come in. You can only imagine what her and her son, I don't know if both of them were there. I know one was, when they're hearing that Lori is saying that Charles is possessed with Ned Schneider or Garrett or Hiplos and all that, it had to be something just for them to have to deal with. Now, yesterday, the defense had some questions about a PowerPoint exhibit the state wanted to admit into evidence. The defense says they have no objection to the presentation, and the jurors are about to be brought into the courtroom. So, as y'all recall, John Thomas objected to a PowerPoint, but everything on that PowerPoint was statements and things that had already been turned over to the defense. They just hadn't had time to see it in that format. So they gave them time overnight to look at it, but the judge is going to allow that. So I'm assuming this morning we're going to get some of that. This Detective Duncan's probably going to go through it, and we're going to see who's up next. The community wall. If you look on this channel, at the top of the channel there's this little line across the top that says things like videos, live, and then it says about, but it also says in their community. You click on that and you get on the community wall. Now, I'm assuming, I'm not real good at this YouTube stuff, that you cannot get on the community wall unless you subscribe to this channel. I would encourage anybody. I put stuff on there all the time. This is a way for the Rays and I to keep in contact with one another community-wise. So there are a lot of things that are reposted. Good morning, Rusted Knight. Good morning, Marilyn. Good morning, Renee. Jax Gustafson. I'm sorry if I mispronounce any of y'all's names. Y'all know I'm just an old country girl. And all of y'all that's never been on this channel, that's decided to go through this with the Raisin and myself, I want to thank y'all for being here. I've always said in the 2 years that this channel was open that this channel it is not for everyone, but everyone is welcome. The Rays and I have been on here with this case. We've delved in it. We know everything that's been publicly released on this case. There are a lot of things that all of us it's falling into place now. This is the first week we're seeing things that most of us already know. And we're also seeing the lack of stuff that all of us know that's not even being brought out in testimony. So my comments and many of the Rays comments on here, read the comments. These Rays are brilliant people. RAYS stands for Research, Analysis, and You. So we're getting started here. Lori just turned around, smiled, and mouthed, "Hi," toward our direction. John Thomas, her attorney, has some family members here sitting in front of us, so it's likely she was smiling at them. So Lori has let John Thomas's family members know that she's saying hi to them, y'all. Some of y'all had joked around saying that since Lori can't get a hold of Chatty Boys Big Johnson there, that maybe she's got to put her prostituting ways toward John Pryor. I mean, not John Pryor, John Thomas. Of course, you know, she probably would do John Pryor too. Woo! I'll tell you what, y'all, I got to wake up. Fremont County Prosecuting Attorney Lindsay Blake is questioning Detective Duncan. He's talking about cell data and information found in Charles Vallow's iCloud account. Speed Bump says, so unfair that we're not able to see the trial. Daughter of Scotland, glad you're here. Duncan says this took place in January of 2020 when he was aware of JJ and Tylee missing, Tammy Daybell's death, and the attempted murder of Brandon Boudreaux. Duncan says, we were working with law enforcement in Idaho to find JJ and Tylee, but at the same time, we're trying to find evidence for Charles's case. Blake wants to admit exhibit number 49. This is a PowerPoint presentation Duncan put together. Fremont County Prosecuting Attorney Lindsay Blake is talking to Duncan. He's talking about the cell phone data, and Duncan says in early of 2020, Chandler was working with Idaho police to try and find JJ and Tylee. The PowerPoint exhibit will now be shown to the court. And just a reminder, and I know y'all think I'm beating a dead horse. The bottom line is I'm going between Nate Eaton and Justin Lum. So it might seem like I'm being redundant, but they both have different perspectives. So we want to make sure to get as much of this as we possibly can before the audio is released this evening. The first slide in the PowerPoint is an email sent from Charles's email account to Chad Daybell. And the Rays on here know exactly what that's all about. Charles is letting Chad Daybell know that he knows that something is going on. We are looking at a typed letter written to Chad Daybell from Charles Vallow. But we know Charles didn't write this letter. So this is before that, y'all. I didn't mean to spoil that. I thought that's what they were going to show. This is a typed letter, y'all. Y'all know what this is. I'm going to try to hold back what we already know because some of y'all haven't been following this and are just kind of new to it. So but y'all know, the Rays on here know that I could go off the deep end right about now. So here we go. Duncan reads the letter. Charles, in parentheses, says he needs to have a book written about him and wants to pay Chad as a ghostwriter. He even says, we enjoyed having you stay with us in Arizona in November. Yeah, I'm sure Lori enjoyed having Chad over there the weekend that Charles Vallow was out busting his ass. She's damn sneaking into his room. It ain't him coming to her. It's her coming to him. And what I am referencing that to is Chad's smutty novel, which I believe a lot of it was real. And for those that don't know, in Chad's smutty novel, Lori goes into Chad's bedroom. I don't know if Chad was staying in Charles and Lori's bedroom or what, but the bottom line is she sneaks in there and they're doing all this clothes on clothes stuff, grinding and all that stuff. It's disgusting. These people are absolutely disgusting. Y'all gonna have to excuse me. I gotta go turn the air on. It's getting hot here. Woo! If y'all hear the air coming on, I'm sorry. I'm in my home. It is what it is. I'm willing to pay you well to help me get this book into shape as a ghostwriter. I really liked your autobiography and the tone you took with sharing experiences without preaching. The email invites Chad to come visit him in Arizona. And I don't want to be a spoiler, y'all, but this channel was set up for the Rays here. I cannot, this situation, y'all, this situation was Lori pretending to be Charles. This came from the email address kkwalker75@yahoo.com. Duncan served a search warrant to Yahoo, and the name associated to the account was a Karen Walker. The IP came back to an area in Katy, Texas. The phone number and birthday associated with the account was linked to Lori Vallow. Well, there you go, y'all. And as many of us know, she was trying to send this letter so that Chad could show it to his beloved wife, Tammy, and say, look, they want, this woman's husband wants me to write that. She just wanted Chad back with her. And Chad had to give Tammy excuses. That's my opinion. Duncan says there was no indication this email came from Charles. Charles discovered the email at the end of June of 2019 and sent it to Adam. And Adam is Adam Cox, which is Lori's brother. Charles then confronted Lori about the email. Duncan said Charles had no relationship at all with Chad Daybell. So, I mean, Lori is actively trying to find ways to get with Chad Daybell. Chad is still married to Tammy. I know that when Charles Vallow sent that email to Adam Cox, Lori's brother, so Adam was supposed to be the good guy. Adam is not Alex. Alex is the crazy one. But when he did that, he said, I think something's going on. Talking to Adam. Just so you know, I have Tammy's email address. I will send a copy of my email you sent. Tammy will know what you're up to, and you better explain. And this is Charles talking to Lori. Again, just so you know, I have Tammy's email address. I will send a copy of my email that you sent, Lori, and Tammy will know what you're up to, and you better damn well explain. That's basically what it was. Charles told Lori he would send this letter to Tammy Daybell if she did not respond. He found this letter claiming to be from him on 6/29 of 19, 12 days, y'all, before he was killed. And I can tell you that it was all about the freaking insurance money, but it also, time was running out. As y'all recall, Melanie Gibb yesterday talked about Lori and Chad were saying that they felt like Tammy was starting to get suspicious about things. They had to shut Charles up for sure. And also, let's keep in mind that Chad Daybell told Melanie Gibbs' husband, David Warwick, her boyfriend at the time, not to say anything about Chad and Lori's relationship. Charles sent Lori multiple text messages saying she needed to explain herself or he was going to contact Tammy. He said he was going to talk to Tammy in person if he had to, and Lori said her game was up. Charles said and told Lori that her game was up. Charles said he had already contacted Tammy via text and phone. Duncan says Charles sent 2 emails to Tammy Daybell, one to her personal address and one to her work address. And we've all wondered, y'all, there's no evidence that Tammy actually ever received those emails. Duncan's now reading the email that Charles sent to Tammy saying he had disturbing evidence about her husband, Chad Daybell, and Charles Vallow's wife, Lori. I apologize to be the one sending this, but something has to be done. I feel it's best to shed some light on this issue, says Charles to Tammy in the email. Charles sent this message to Tammy's work email and left his phone number. He wrote in a second email with the subject line, "Your husband and my wife." And in the body, he says that they are having an affair and her name is Lori Vallow. Lordy be. Y'all, I didn't know who Tammy Daybell was. And we've all gathered stuff into all of the publicly released stuff. We've heard all about her foundation since her death, the beautiful things that have been said about this woman, how hardworking she was. The question really is would she have, if she would have got this email, would she have just packed up and left? I don't know, but I do know this. It wasn't long before she was murdered where she was visiting her family. Charles continued to say he had definite proof of the affair. Blake asks Duncan if Tammy read these emails, and Duncan says there's no indication that she read them. It's unknown if they were missed, read, and deleted, etc. So y'all will never know. We'll never know. But could you imagine, after everything that woman has done for that man, bared his children, worked her ass off all her life, tried to promote his publishing and author career and everything else. If she would have found out about that, how that would have broke her heart. In some ways, I hope she never did know. They do say ignorance is bliss, but it would break my heart, y'all, to know if there was evidence that she actually knew about the affair. Charles also contacted Chad Daybell via email. He said he's not writing a book, and it's preposterous. So in other words, Charles is saying, hey, Chad Daybell, it's preposterous that you think I'm writing a book. He also says if Chad's wife knows if he has, he says, hey, Chad, do you know that, does your wife know that there are videos of Lori dancing that's been sent to him? And Lori had sent these videos to Chad of her dancing in January of 2019. You know, this woman in her damn yoga pants. She was flinging it out there. She was putting the, what is it? A woman will make you fall into a pit. And I mean that literally, because that was Lori Daybell. A pit. A bottomless, big, black hole. Duncan's now reading an email he sent to Chad. I'm Lori's husband, but I'm sure you already knew this. Charles said he was not writing a book and will not be paying anyone for anything. Either you or Lori need to tell me what's going on, or this will be exposed for all to see, he wrote to Chad. And does your wife know you have several of Lori's dance videos? Explain how that is. She sent them to you in January at your request. So Chad Daybell, this is no different than these horn dogs out here saying, send me a nude photo of you. Send me pictures of your body parts. Y'all know it. I know it. There really is something wrong with you. You have to be exposed for what you really are, Charles Vallow says to Chad Daybell. Yeah, there's something wrong with him. There's something wrong with Chad Daybell. He's a damn serial killer. That's what Chad Daybell is. On June the 30th, y'all, less than 2 weeks before he was murdered, Charles sent a long message to Lori. He seems hurt, heartbroken, and wants to get Lori's attention. And Charles says this. He says, you have destroyed me. I have never been lower in my life. Y'all, that just breaks my heart. This man did everything in the world for her, and she does this. That damn hussy. You have destroyed me. I've never been lower in my life. Please explain. We have a son to raise, but that's all we have in common. You owe me an apology for all the false accusations you've made. I've been entirely faithful to you since the first day we met. I deserve an apology from you, Lori. Please respect that much. And this text was sent on June the 30th of 2019. He was a good man, y'all. He was a good man, a good provider. He did everything in the world for Lori. On July the 1st of 2019, y'all, that's 10 days before he was murdered, Charles texts Lori and says he's going to Idaho to meet Tammy Daybell. And you know what Lori tells him in that text? She says, she won't see you talking about Tammy. She's my friend. So Lori is trying to convince Charles that Tammy Daybell is Lori's friend. Give me a break, y'all. She's trying to keep Charles from doing this by trying to lie to him even more. Charles then asked why Lori sent a BS email about a book he wants ghostwritten. And Charles says there's no reason for it other than to get him in Arizona and have an excuse for his wife. Bingo! Charles wasn't stupid. He understood what the situation was. Chad had to show Tammy something. I'm going to Arizona. I'm going to be a ghostwriter. So he could go and get into Lori's yoga pants, basically. And of course, like I said before, Nate Eaton lets us all know these messages were sent July the 1st of 2019. Charles was shot and killed on July 11th of 2019, just 10 days later. I guess the question is was Charles just trying to get her to explain things and he was just telling her this? Because he didn't go to Idaho to meet with Tammy. He did send those 2 emails, one to her personal and one to her job there. These text messages are all included in the massive police report of Chandler Police Department released in October of 2021. As many of the Rays on here know, this is the Chandler dump that many of us sifted through and dissected. Duncan's reading messages between Charles and Adam Cox sent before Charles was killed on July 11th of 2019 between 7:35 a.m. and 7:37 a.m. And y'all know how I feel about Adam Cox. He goes through all this and warns Charles, but then he takes off and he doesn't hear anything about it. He goes somewhere else, and all of that, none of that adds up. Duncan details the text between Charles and Adam Cox, Lori's other brother. This conversation on the day, y'all, that Charles was murdered is right before Charles was shot by Alex Cox. Charles told Adam, Al is here. In other words, Alex is here. He's referring to Alex Cox being at Lori's home. Adam Cox would respond to that by saying, they're planning something. Adam said he was supposed to stay the night at Alex's home the previous night. He tells Charles, Lori probably blocked that. Duncan says the messages from Charles to Adam were sent from the address of where Charles was killed. Y'all, I don't know why I'm so damn hot. Oh yeah, I think I know. I'm 52 years old. And y'all, I mean, we all know, and I'm waiting on a refresh, we all know that there are text messages out there from Lori asking Alex to come stay the night with her. She says she can't. She says, I need you here and all this and that. He brings a gun over there. Y'all know the crap that the Chandler Police Department didn't do, basically. Lindsay Blake is showing Duncan a new exhibit. It's pages printed out from the Lori for Style iCloud account. There are pictures included, Duncan says. I imagine those pictures are probably pictures of Lori bending over for Chad. What do y'all think? She sends the dance videos. She might as well send everything else. She's got to put it on display for old Chatty boy, don't you know? We're waiting on a refresh, y'all. But this shows quite clearly prior bad acts. It all kind of meshes in together in this whole dang terrible, awful, tragic case, y'all. It's so absolutely unbelievable that these people did this. And I want to say this while I'm waiting on a new thread here. There was some miscommunication yesterday in Melanie Gibbs' testimony about whether Lori knew about Charles's life insurance. And I think she must have misspoke or something like that, because even Sharon Wheeler and even Nate Eaton and them were saying, and I said it, and many of y'all said it, if she knew that that life insurance had been switched to Kay before Charles's murder, why even murder him? But if she knew beforehand, then why call the insurance company afterwards? What I'm trying to say is Lori she didn't have a clue. That's the truth of the matter. Blake asked to admit a document as evidence that shows data collected from Lori's iCloud and phone accounts. This all has to do, y'all, with the details of the text messages released that indicate the killing of Charles Vallow was planned. We all knew this. John Thomas wants it to be known on the record that the defense has objected to evidence regarding 404B, but it was overruled. They won't object to this exhibit right now. The judge is allowing it to be admitted and published. So what is it going to be, y'all? What is it going to be? We're fixing to find out. Okay, we are now seeing 4 different phone numbers under Lori for Style at iCloud.com. I can't help but think about, whenever I hear about Lori having all these phones, y'all remember Tylee Ryan? She said that her mother having all these phones was a lot like a drug dealer. Let me tell you, Lori was so much more than that. She was a freak. That's what I got to say. She had a special phone for Chad. The 4 numbers have area codes of 808, 480, and 512. Chad was her drug, kept her hot like a hug, says Yin Yang, our channel poet. Blake asks if Duncan could recover any messages from these numbers between Lori and Alex, y'all. Okay, now think about that. Blake asked Duncan, could he recover any messages from these numbers between Lori and Alex? And Duncan says, yes, he did. Wonder what Lori and Alex was talking about, y'all. Wonder what those 2 evil siblings had to say to each other. Text between Lori to Alex. They talk about Ned being gone. Lori hoped for it to happen, March the 9th of 2019, or the next day, Alex says he confirmed Ned is still alive. These people are sick. These people are really sick. Duncan explains how Charles was being referred to as Ned, or his so-called dark spirit was. Duncan now reading messages Lori sent to Alex in March of 2019 talking about getting rid of Ned. The evil spirit zombie, they said, was inhabiting Charles's body. Lori referred to the evil spirit in Charles's body as Ned or Garrett. Duncan explains how Charles was being referred to as Ned or his so-called dark spirit. I think I've read that one. Sorry, y'all. Just trying to get this out here. Not sure when they're going to. I wish they'd speed it up a little bit. I understand. This is all we've got, though, until the audio's released. And you've got to wonder. I mean, I was wondering how the jurors were, when they left the courtroom yesterday and they ended it on Chad's blessing with him sobbing and acting like a damn idiot, what these people must have thought when they went home last night. And here they are, going through all of this all over again. This crazy stuff. Oh, goodness, y'all. A woman named Nicole Earl texted Lori on October 19 saying that Chad's wife, Tammy, had died. Lori responded, "Oh, my gosh, I did not hear that." Nicole asked Lori what happened, and Lori responded that Tammy awoke in the night, coughing, and then died. Melanie Gibbs sent Lori a message later the same day. "I hear what happened to Chad's wife." "Oh my gosh," Lori responded. "Hello? What?" Y'all, these people are pathetic. Pathetic. A message between Melanie Gibb and Lori Vallow. Gibb says she heard what happened to Chad's wife. And oh my gosh, Lori says, hello what? This was on the same day that Tammy was murdered, y'all. And again, I'm reading between these two tweets, so it might seem like I'm repeating myself. But the bottom line is we've got on November 22nd, y'all, this is important. November 22nd, the day that I feel like JJ was murdered. Some of y'all believe it was the overnight in the 23rd. Lori texts Kobe saying she texted thank you to send it, but had not heard back yet. Lori then tells Kobe she hopes he got the BMO. Oh, it wasn't thank you, it was Tylee. Sorry, y'all. She texted Tylee, saying she texted Tylee to send it but had not heard back. Sorry about that, y'all. Lori then tells Kobe she hopes he got the VMO. Tylee said she sent it. So let's just keep in mind, Lori's got Tylee's phone, and she's making Kobe believe that Tylee is sending the money, which would have been a normal thing at the time. So that tells you right there Lori knew. Duncan says Tylee is Tylee Ryan. Through searching the iCloud account, he was able to find a Lolly Time at iCloud account. It has two phone numbers listed. 480 and 602 are the area codes. Duncan now reading a text message from Lori to Kobe Ryan, her eldest son, on November 22nd of 2019 about Tylee's Vimo account. I text Tylee to send it, but I haven't heard back yet. She'll probably just do it before she tells me. Hope you got the Vimo. And this woman damn well knew. This was in November. She murdered her daughter September 8th of 2019. This woman is sick. Duncan's talking about another email account, lollytime@icloud.com. It is linked to 2 cell phone numbers belonging to Lori Vallow. This account contains messages between Lori Vallow and Alex Cox. And as many of y'all remember, in this 2 years that we've been together, Leah Sottle and I forgot the other author, they talked about Lori's background, and that they emphasized that Lori would tell a friend that Alex wanted to have sex with her and all that. And think about this, y'all. As she got into adulthood, Alex was with her everywhere she went. They've got Alex going out to buy Lori a coat. Y'all, for all we know, this was a little more sick and twisted. I'm not confirming that. I'm just saying it looks really, really weird. Texts show that Lori told Alex to stay close to her for the next couple of days, as well as Melanie. She can't go to Utah. She goes on to say, thanks for standing by, and she will be like Nephi, I'm told, and so will you. She's talking to Alex. So Lori says she's going to be like Nephi, and there is a pattern in terms of them wanting to look at figures in the Book of Mormon and say that their lives are patterned against it. Example being yesterday's secret recorded call with Melanie Gibb and Lori and Chad. Lori saying sometimes you gotta hide in the cleft of a rock. She's talking about that, and then Melanie Gibb says, no, you're more like Cora Whore, which all of us know Lori is Lore Whore. These texts are sent 2 days before Charles Vallow's murder. Lori sends Alex a message on July the 9th, 2 days before Charles's murder, saying, so the plot thickens. Call me when you can. Lori texts Alex later, and she says, getting sleepy, going to need you to stay close. And y'all, you know, I can't help but wonder. I mean, this damn woman, she says she's becoming translated. And she doesn't have to sleep. She don't have to eat. She don't have to shit. She don't have to do none of that. She can stop a bullet. She's got the fountain of youth coming back on her ass. And yet in this one, she's telling her messed up brother, I'm getting sleepy. Lots to do. Thank you for standing by me. It's all coming to a head this week. I will be like Nephi, I'm told. And so are you, she tells Alex. These people are sick. Duncan says there were several messages on Lori's phone that were not located in the iCloud, which is not uncommon. The texts were between Lori and Chad and occurred right before the murder of Charles Vallow. And let's just keep in mind, if they let us know about it, how Arizona didn't charge Chad Daybell with conspiracy to commit murder on Charles Vallow. They say they didn't bring charges against Chad Daybell because they didn't have enough evidence. Give me a break. Give me a break. Let's see what they were saying. I'm waiting on it. The texts were between Lori and Chad and occurred right before the murder of Charles Vallow. Let's see what these two evil people got to say. I mean, what could they say? What could they say? Oh, they spoken a lot of freaking code. Man, I hate these damn cliffhangers. Text between Lori and Chad. July the 18th, y'all. That's exactly 7 days after Charles died. Lori tells Chad, I just got the letter from the insurance company saying that I'm not the beneficiary. It's a spear through my heart. Who do you think he changed it to? Brandon or maybe Kay? He left nothing for JJ, and neither did she because she murdered JJ. And nobody's going to tell me because she didn't get money for JJ's care that she just decided to murder JJ? No. I'm telling you now, she's telling Chad Daybell she didn't get the money. Prior to Charles's death, Blake confirms with Duncan that Lori had no idea she was not the beneficiary before the shooting. This contradicts, y'all, the cross-examination between John Thomas and Melanie Gibb yesterday. I guess Melanie Gibb had to make sure to do something for her queen, don't you know? I don't know if Melanie Gibb was just mixed up. Maybe she didn't understand the question. I know at one point in her testimony, she talks about, my mind's going off in, a little bit. What was the question? Melanie Gibb's a nut job. All right, so many of us knew that's what Lori had said, but this is what Chad responds to her and says, wow, that's terrible. There is no way to find out. These messages were exchanged 7 days after Charles Vallow died. I don't think Lori should have even wondered how she could find out who the beneficiary was. She knew she wasn't going to get the money. The only thing I could say is that maybe she wanted to know whether it was Kay or Brandon so they could go after them and murder them too. And maybe this had something to do. Maybe she never did know that Kay had gotten that money. Even though she did send the text message to Kay, maybe she was waiting for some response from Kay to confirm that Kay had gotten it. Maybe she didn't know, and that's when they set up this whole thing with the attempt on Brandon's life. I'm just throwing theory out here, y'all. Duncan reads more messages from July 18th of 2019. Chad says, I love you. This is terrible, but it's probably another step in bringing down the Gadaddingtons. Especially Brandon. And I guess the G-A-D-I-A-N-T-O-N-S, y'all, I'm assuming is something out of the Book of Mormon. He's saying it's another step in bringing basically Brandon down. Lori responds later that she spoke to the insurance company and the beneficiary was changed in March. And Lori says, it was probably Ned before we got rid of him. They can't tell me to who, of course, but it's done. I'll still get the $4,000 a month from Social Security. These people, she's got to let Chad know. She's got to let Chad know what she's bringing to the table. Because it can't just be what's between her legs, y'all. He's wanting the money. He's wanting the wuss. He's wanting it all. And she's letting him know she's going to get the $4,000 a month. And she continued to get it after they murdered those children. Another message from Chad to Lori on July the 26th of 2019, excuse me, y'all. I'm a grown-up version of Harry Potter, says Chad, who has to live with the Dudleys in his little crawl space under the stairs. Every few days I get to escape and have amazing adventures with my goddess lover. Chad Daybell compares himself to Harry Potter, y'all. And he's telling Lori he gets to escape and go be with her. They get to get it on. He gets to have his amazing adventures with his goddess lover because he feels like he's living under the crawl space under the stairs. Well, Chad Daybell and Lori Daybell, the police, when they searched Lori's apartment 175, they found a suitcase, a Superman suitcase or something that belonged to JJ under the space in the stairs. But then I have to return to my place under the stairs, feeling trapped. But I sense permanent freedom is coming, says Chad. Oh, yeah, and we all know about the text message where they're all talking about how Tammy is like a warden in a prison. If that damn asshole felt like that, he should have got a divorce. Chad said to Lori he sensed freedom was coming. On July 30th of 2019, Chad texted Lori that Tammy's death percentage had fallen steadily since Hiplos had left. It is encouraging, said Chad. I mean, why can't they just say, since we've murdered Charles Vallow, now we need to kind of get geared up. Since you've done told me, Lori, that you're only going to get $4,000 a month in Social Security benefits, so now that Charles is murdered, it's encouraging that we're, slowly but surely we're going toward Tammy's murder. That's basically what they're saying. They're just dressing it all up. Is it just code language? Are they role playing? Or do they really think they believe this crap? I'll tell you, it don't make a damn bit of difference to old KJ. They're serial killers. Duncan is now showing a text from Alex to Lori. And it says, network name is Anti-Lamon. Lamon PW is, the password is too many kids. Remember, we talked about that, y'all. And I think Lindsay Blake said that in her opening statement. Alex Cox set up that Wi-Fi network with the password too many kids. And Lori says, funny. This was on 9/3 of 19, just days before Tylee's last sighting. It's disgusting. It is. It's disgusting. Oh, Duncan also looked at the phone of Zulema Pastanes. Y'all know who Zulema is. Alex is my man. He goes, I say, I'm really craving salsa and chips. And Alex will just jump right up and run out the door, and he brings me back salsa and chips, and he says, here you go, my love. But Duncan also looked at the phone of Zulema Paston as he confirms with Blake, major evidence from Chandler case continues to be shown to the jury. And Zulema was, y'all think Lori and Chad were freaky? Zulema was absolutely, out there. A new exhibit is being reviewed by Duncan before its admittance. He located some deleted searches on these iCloud accounts regarding the attempt on Brandon for new searches about the shooting, says KCL. Good morning, KCL. Zulema and the two males should be behind bars with Hori, says Tanya T. Blake asked to admit another exhibit as evidence. They are messages from Zulema Pastedes' phone and Charles Vallow's iCloud account. Good morning, Tina Reddington. Halloween wax lips. Ha ha ha, says Casey Jones. Exhibit 51 to be admitted. Thomas once again reminds that defense has objected yesterday to all of this. It's understood, but it was overruled. So what is Exhibit 51, y'all? We're fixing to find out. And just think about this, y'all. At the beginning of the week, remember Exhibit 1, Exhibit 2? We're now up to Exhibit 51. Voluminous, voluminous. Hope Grace is asking, has anyone seen Zulema in the house? Maybe she will be the next witness. Nate and Justin Lum hasn't said anything about that. Good question, Hope Grace. Wonder if she'll come in with a floppy hat on, like Melanie Gibb. Rainy Apler is asking, where is David Warwick? I don't know. Rainy April. You would think he'd be following his wife, Melanie Gibb. All right, here we go, y'all. Duncan reads messages from Lori to Zulema on May the 29th of 2019. Remember, this is, 2 months before Charles's death or his murder? Perfect. I found out there are 4. One is a level 4 entity. His name is Hiplos. And this is from Lori to Zulema. So Lori is telling Zulema that this is a level 4 entity. These people are just... I think many of us have already know something. The Rays on here know a lot about these messages of the Chandler dump. Lori tells Zulema about an entity named Hiplos. She says, let's put fire and energy towards him, asking if Zulema is ready. These women are sitting there texting back and forth, acting like they have some kind of special powers. I guess as Lori sits at the defense table right now, where the hell? Where's your special powers, Lori? Where are they? Your damn feet is tied to the floor. You're shackled up, woman. And by the way, if for some reason, y'all, and y'all know me, I'm a for sake of argument kind of person. Say these entities were real, Hiplos, Garrett, Viola, all these people, and they got them out of the body by killing the physical body, and they got them out. I'll tell you what, wherever these evil spirits went, from there, I would assume that they attached themselves to Lori, Chad, and Alex. And that's just being facetious. Let's also keep in mind that when Lori met Melanie Gibb was at a ward in the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. And Zulema was there, and others were there. Lori was not from that ward, but she started attending it, don't you know? Chad sent Zulema a message that day thanking her for her help with hip loss, saying, Mother Earth is very grateful for what she and Lori are doing. He is encouraging this, y'all. Hiplos was the spirit entity that inhabited Charles's body. On July 2nd, that's 9 days before Charles's murder, Zulema sent Lori a message saying she was given instructions to rip and tear or burn the auto of Hiplos to let the body energy out. These people. It's absolutely comical, really, to think that, hey, I told y'all, I'm an American. I think anyone should believe whatever the hell they want to believe, but this is pathetic. And if y'all recall, when Chad's telling Zulema, Mother Earth is very grateful. If y'all remember yesterday in Chad's blessing, he was talking about Mother Nature was going to be there for Alex Cox and all this stuff. Give me a break. They took a little bit of everything, anything, smashed it all together, and it ended up being murder. Well, I wonder if Mother Earth or Mother Nature is going to be with Chad and Lori as they're off in prison in Idaho. We all know that Lori cannot stand cold weather. She would much rather be in Hawaii. And I think Chad's going to be head on, head first, man, about this Mother Nature stuff, Mother Nature, when he has to deal with the Bubba thing going on in prison there. I think Mother Nature's going to do a little bit of changing for Chad, don't y'all think? Duncan reads a chain of messages between Zulema and Lori on June the 2nd of 2019. The messages range from 11:52 a.m. to 12:42 p.m. They're talking about being ready, sending fire, blinding him with light. I'm feeling it big time. I feel him. Did he leave? I can't see him. I felt like I was chasing him. Get him. This is the messages, y'all. You know, Zulema and Lori are texting back and forth. They're probably getting very orgasmic. Oh, I'm chasing. You are amazing, lady. I'm tired now, says Lori. Me too, says Zulema. I'll keep the fire going till he's gone. She's tired now, y'all. Lori's tired from fighting, and so is Zulema. They're on the text messages, probably getting each other off. Come on, y'all. Let's get for real. That's pathetic. That's role-playing, crazy-ass stuff. Oh, I'm chasing. You're an amazing lady. I'm tired now. LOL. Me too, says Zulema. I'll keep the fire going till he's gone. Oh, Lord. I guess they just had to do something with their time, don't y'all think? You know, I can't help but wonder, do these people work for a living? Do they not have to damn make a living? Pay their damn bills? Who's bringing home the bacon? And by the way, for those that are kind of new to this case, you can find that conversation. You can find that conversation, an excerpt from the conversation between Lori and Zulema regarding sending fire on Hiplos. He's posting it now, Justin Lum, on his Twitter feed. And somebody get back with me after this live stream. You know how you can't really keep up with the comments as it's live? Somebody get back with me if y'all hear that and see if Lori and Zulema are sounding like they're having some pleasantness. Duncan's reading an email from a Karen Walker in April of 2019 to Chad Daybell about having him come and speak to a youth group in Houston. The sender asked for Chad to come that month and share his stories at a youth conference. And again, y'all, this Karen Walker's account, they have determined through their investigation, this is Lori. See, Lori starts off sending this fake-ass letter from Charles Vallow. Now, she's got to come up with something else that Chad can show his wife, Tammy. So she makes up this Karen Walker in April, talking about coming and speak at this youth group. Y'all, let's just put this in perspective. Chad Daybell, think about that blessing. The tears, the way he was talking, the blasphemy, and think about these children at this youth conference. This man is going to go talk to youth. That, my friends, is some scary ass shit. The sender stresses the urgency of responding and coming to Houston. So this is when Lori is back with, I'm assuming with Charles, because this was in April and she had left him for 58 days. Then she came back. She had to keep the affairs in order, don't y'all know? She wanted to make sure she was going to be the beneficiary of that life insurance. And guess what? Charles Vallow busted her ass. The sender stresses the urgency, and Chad responds that he can come and he will talk with Karen later about the flight. Lori was living in Houston in April of 2019. Blake has no further questions, and John Thomas will now cross-examine Detective Duncan. Oh, John Thomas, wimpy, Jiffy Burger man, he's coming up. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today, y'all. John Thomas is up. Oh, Thomas says the defense has no questions for Detective Duncan. Well, imagine that. You know, I'll tell you what, the state of Idaho had to give Lori these had to give Archie, which was a death penalty qualified attorney. He don't know nothing about how to do any of this cross-examining stuff because he's left it in John Thomas's lap. But the state is paying Thomas and Archie, and y'all, I mean, I'm assuming, and this is just my opinion, this is a minimum amount of defense for Lori. Now, you just look at the other side of this. Chad Daybell didn't do shit for his queen. He didn't give her money to get her an attorney, but he's got one, John Pryor. And make no mistake, y'all, I kid around about John Pryor, but the man ain't stupid. He'll give a better robust defense to Chad Daybell than by himself than these two attorneys for Lori could ever do. So Detective Duncan has, I guess he's going to leave the stand here because the defense does not have any questions. Remember, y'all, this was stuff that was put up in the courtroom where everybody could see it. It was a PowerPoint. It went through all of these text messages. It shows quite clearly that all this stuff started they started to conspire and talk about all this crazy stuff. to keep moving themselves forward on what they were going to do to Charles Vallow, eventually try on Brandon Boudreaux, what they did to the children and Tammy. This is the evil snowball effect. It shows prior bad acts. 404B. This is relevant all the way down to it. I did not think for a second they would bring in the fact that Charles Vallow's murder. I thought the judge would leave it out. Obviously, he has left out that the state and the defense cannot say, at least not up to this point, y'all, that Lori is facing conspiracy to commit murder charges on Charles Vallow. Carol M. says, Pryor is Mr. I object. Yeah, I'll tell you. But anyone that's been who follows the legal process, John Pryor's not an idiot. He can be a jerk, and he is a flask-drinking whiskey man, but I'm going to tell you, KCL says, Lori is furiously writing as the attorneys are at sidebar. The attorneys say that they have their clients take notes to keep them from bothering them, says KCL. Yeah, I hope so too, Jax. They better video Chad's trial. This needs to be seen and heard. I mean, this is what we're relegated to, y'all. But I'll tell you, just as I told last night, I got a text message from Candance. Many of y'all know who Candance and my friend Jenny are. She was just telling me, being there to be supportive and stuff. And I told her, I said, well, if I've got to do this, I'm glad that it is Justin Lum and Nate Eaton. Two incredible journalists that's been on this from the very start. And just an FYI, because Thomas says he has no questions for this Detective Duncan, he also says he's not cross-examining him because he has stated that this evidence should not be admissible, and Duncan is excused. Justin Lum has put on his Twitter that AVAL stands for Another Voice of Warning, an online forum for doomsday preppers. Chad was an important figure for AVAL. An email letter from Karen from AVAL writes to Brother Daybell about coming to speak to the youth in Houston, Texas. This is dated April 21st of 2019. Karen tells Chad that she and her husband have a casita on their property for him to stay in. We know who Karen was. It was Lori. Okay, so now they're having the mid-morning recess. The judge is calling for a mid-morning recess to discuss some items outside of the presence of the jury. Yeah, CC Johnson, 67. I keep in contact with Candance and Jenny. They're wonderful people. I hope the prosecution has more witnesses lined up, says KCL. Zulema was right in the middle of this from the beginning. She's one of the ones, says Saltina Winchito. Thank you, KJ. You're doing a great job, says Beverly. Thank you, Beverly. Y'all, thank you for being so supportive. This gets monotonous. I hate that y'all have to hear this silence and the clicks and all this stuff in between. Some of y'all got to hear my toilet over here in the other room going bloop, bloop, bloop yesterday. We're in my home. This channel is not a show. This is an open channel for the Rays. And I thank all of y'all. Thank you, Kathleen Curtis. Thank you, Private Eye. Jay Blake. Blake says, no way. No, we are just thankful. Nana, the last time that I've talked to, I haven't heard from Crescia, but I sent a text message to Kay Woodcock wishing Larry a happy birthday. And she, you know how that you put the little heart saying thank you or whatever, little heart. I haven't heard from them personally. Thank you, Grammy. Patricia Robbins has went and found the other conversations. Yeah, what's interesting about this is y'all remember when as we've gone through this for 2 years, I said we'd be ready for this trial. I'm beginning to believe I've seen it time and time again, not only on this live stream or the updated comments or on Nate Eaton's live stream and other streams. There are people who are like, who is this and who is that? And I'm thinking to myself, man, the Rays on here, we all got it down. Yeah, CIM is making a great point. We could read the tweets ourselves, but KJ and the Rays make it fun. And y'all, it's kind of monotonous, but I think Nate Eaton and Justin Lum are doing pretty damn good, considering you can't put huge paragraphs on those tweets. I think they're kind of encapsulating everything. Kauai Mom, glad you're here. KCL says the state says new information has come up with the next witness. And y'all, the next witness is Zulema Pastanez. Madison County Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Spencer Ramel says the next witness is Zulema Pastanez, and the prosecution has recently learned of a criminal conviction in Arizona in the 1990s. Zulema is here with an attorney. So let's just kind of, let's break this down, y'all. So they're just now letting the defense know, as the prosecution receives information that they don't already have turned over in discovery, they have to turn this over to the defense attorneys. So what they're saying here is hey, we didn't know that Zulema had this prosecution conviction in Arizona in the 1990s. And remember, some of y'all Rays, these brilliant Rays in here, was letting me know about this almost 2 years ago. We've gotten past it since, but Zulema had some kind of drug conviction back in the 1990s. Now, can the defense, which they cross-examine her, can they bring this out to shoot down her credibility? I don't know, but I do know this: the woman's a nut job. She's a nut job. I mean, how credible will she be anyway? And another thing, y'all, for all of the Rays on here that went and watched Zulema's police interview, y'all can all find this on YouTube who are not used to this case. Zulema is in a police interview. They're going over all this stuff with her. The bottom line is the woman is hard to understand. She has a kind of a serious, I don't know if it's Cuban, Mexican, I don't know what that is all about, but she's hard to understand. Let's just say Zulema is the cultural one, the cultural diversity in this small group of cult members. In fact, Zulema is the one that could create earthquakes. She could bring on the fire. We just saw earlier, her and Lori are texting furiously, passionate about, trying to take out Charles Vallow. Zulema has been married 5 times before, says Margaret Gibson. Zulema has a dark history. She tried to get her stepdaughter to commit suicide, allegedly. Marilyn Landis says, Colombian ? I wonder if Zulema was in on Alex's death. Claire, a lot of people have asked this question, and some actually believe this. Katara says, isn't Zuzu from Colombia? Jax Gustafson says, weather and earthquake predictions, laughing my ass off. I hope the defense asks Zulema why she has immunity, says KCL. Oh, KCL, that's a good one right there. For those that don't know this, back when all this shit went down and they started bringing in these cult members, we found out that Zulema Pastenis got use immunity. And use immunity is whatever she testifies to, she can't get in trouble for. But that doesn't mean that she couldn't get in trouble for other things. Damn, the little things are creeping back up. Her and her kids kept an attorney beside her since Alex died. Just me, hi, DP. The good point, when Alex was taken to the hospital after he died in the bathroom, shitting all over himself. Sorry, y'all, I'm just going to say it like it is. He's a serial killer. Zulema went to the hospital, and it was she had to get her attorney. She'd been telling those police at the hospital that she didn't know who Lori was when they had already known that she knew Lori. It was Zulema sending text to Chad saying, I see a woman in a white dress. And it was Zulema talking with Alex and Lori about how Tammy Daybell was a warden. Melanie Gibb was jealous of Chad going for Lori. Now I think KJ is jealous of her not getting Chadwick. Oh, Michael Harrison. Okay, this would be a good time for me to also say this, y'all. Whether you're kidding around or not, let's kind of remember the community guidelines. Let's all get along. This is a case here that is absolutely devastating. Let's make sure to keep our comments trying to focus in on these cult members. Zulema can plead the fifth without losing her immunity. Zulema's attorney, Garrett Smith, is one who Brandon Boudreaux won the defamation lawsuit against, says KCL. And for those who don't understand this, when Brandon Boudreaux and Lori's niece, Melanie Pulowski, were in the middle of the divorce, it was Garrett Smith, Zulema's attorney, that went out publicly and accused Brandon of being gay and all this stuff. And it was Brandon Boudreaux that successfully, as KCL says, sued Garrett Smith along with, I forgot who the other person was. I think it was his wife, Garrett Smith's wife, and successfully won a big judgment. CC Johnson 67 says Zulema was in on all of the planning. Okay, Vivian, let's get to it. Madison County Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Spencer Romao says the next witness is Zulema Pastenis. Zulema's charge in 1998 was for felony drug possession. Thomas argues it's not appropriate for Zulema's attorney to be here as he's not licensed in Idaho. The defense says it will not bring up Zulema's prior charge. Prosecuting attorney Rachel Smith says Zulema's attorney is here more for an aid and counsel. Smith says there is zero evidence that Zulema will take the fifth, and her attorney is here out of an abundance of caution. Zulema was offered a limited use immunity agreement signed 4 years ago with prosecutors. The court is taking a 15-minute break now, y'all. So I guess they're all going to confer with this Garrett Smith, this slimy-ass Garrett Smith, which also, by the way, just to let y'all know, back when they were putting this case together, the prosecutor, Rob Wood, they tried to get Rob Wood taken off the case. As many of you raised know, Garrett Smith came in to meet with Rob Wood and some of his assistants was a couple of years back, Summer Shiflett was going to come in and meet with, they were going to interview her, and Garrett Smith was there. Little did Rob Wood know that Garrett Smith was recording this conversation between Rob Wood and Summer Shiflett. Rob Wood went on to make some statements about how Mark Means, which was Lori's prior attorney, how he didn't know what the hell he was doing. There were a lot of things that were said. And so there came a point where Garrett Smith, along with John Pryor and Mark Means, motioned for the court to have a hearing on getting Rob Wood kicked off the case. They had that. They played that audio that Garrett Smith recorded. You can find it on YouTube, I'm sure. And through it all, the bottom line is Rob Wood was not taken off the case. But Garrett Smith, in my opinion, this is allegedly, and this is just an opinion. This is me. It's a slimy attorney. But then again, wouldn't you expect Summer Shiflett and Zulema to have an attorney such as this? Yin Yang says Garrett Smith is really a snake. As KJ often says, just give me a break, says Yin Yang, our channel poet. Garrett Smith and the other guy representing Cox family were supposed to be on a special dateline, and they canceled the show the last minute, says Cindy Kay. This is my absolute favorite way to watch a trial, a mom in the shoe says. I don't know. I think all of us on here would have liked to have been able to see cameras in the courtroom on this. I appreciate that, though. The bottom line is this is what we're dealing with. The court is in a 15-minute break. I'm glad y'all are all here. Zulema is Chilean, I think, says All Around Ideas. Let's see. The state asked for accommodations for Zulema. The defense objected, and it is sustained, says KCL. So that was something I didn't know, but they are into a 15-minute break. So maybe, they're going to set this up for whatever reason. I don't understand exactly what they were talking about on special accommodation. I think they'll play Summer and Lori. Lori's call when Summer is on the stand, says Maria P. Zulema is from Chile, says Yin Yang, our channel poet. Gibb must be on her knees thanking all gods and saints that the defense is clueless and cannot cross-examine an egg salad, says Stella F. Good point, Stella. Jay Blake says, how come Zuzu got a deal and yet Melanie P. or Gibb didn't? That's a good question, y'all. How about this, y'all? When you look at this, I believe Melanie Gibb was in the middle of it all. But if you look at the whole behaviors and everything that went on in that, we have confirmed already that Zulema was the evil communications director and all this. It was Zulema that held on to Chad and Lori's numbers after they fled. During the whole time they were all doing all this, a lot of these castings were taking place at Zulema's house. Zulema was in the middle of it, y'all. All the Valos dumped JJ onto Lori. Then they wonder why she rebelled, says Margaret Gibson. All the Valos dumped JJ onto Lori. I'll tell you what, Margaret. You have a right to an opinion, but nobody dumped anybody. And from now on, when we hear stuff like that on this channel, I'm going to ignore it, and I hope the Rays on here will too. You should be ashamed of yourself, Margaret, for saying that about victims' family members. You need to leave. Get the hell out of Dodge. Zoo and Lori have a lot in common. Immunity, that is so bad. I'm telling you, there are some people that have to spread bullshit. So if this live stream gets cut off, I'll be back on, because these people are pathetic. Deborah Tutela, thank you. I shouldn't have read that out loud. I shouldn't have known, but I didn't know it was going to be like that. How anybody could say such a thing. It is absolutely, these people really they need something to say something like that. Daughter of Scotland, the reason I don't have mods on here is because I think I'm stupid enough to believe that people could be civil about victims' family members on here. I can deal with the personal attacks on me. I've dealt with it all my life before I even came on YouTube. These people. I mean, I appreciate that, Daughter of Scotland, but the bottom line is if people cannot control their disgusting behavior. Yeah, that's right, Rusted Knight. Yeah. You're right, Sleuthing Mommy. It just shows you how people can be. We suspected Melody Gibb had immunity when she dumped her subpoena in the trash and told Mark Means to call Rob Wood. Stella F. says, I feel sorry for trolls. They're so starved for attention, desperate, they'll settle for any kind. Paula said, I saw her comment and was trying to type a few choice words, but KJ beat me to it. Y'all, I'm telling you, everybody has a right to their own views, but not on this channel when you're going to speak bad of victims' family members. It's not going to happen on here. It's not. They might be able to get away with it because I don't have moderators, but I'm going to ignore it. Yeah. KJ, most of the people on here do have respect for the families. Not so much the culties. Good point, Tina Reddington. Yeah, you're right. Good morning, KJ and chat. Wasn't the Valos trying to get JJ back? Yeah, exactly. We don't need any more hate. These kids died for no reason. That's a good point, Beverly. Just taking my lunch break now and came on here. I've been reading Nate's tweets all day. These people are unbelievable, says Amazing Lynn. Just read the transcript from this morning. I can't with Lori, says Heather Strock. JJ was wanted. Lori is the evil one, says Susie Adrian. And I'll end it on that. And if y'all see anything else in these comments like that, I apologize. I didn't know someone would say something like that. I went to read it. I'm not good at this. The bottom line is if you see it, just ignore it. Please don't react, because that's what these people want. You can't say this is solely an Idaho story. 3 out of 7 witnesses who testified this week have ties to Arizona, and we expect to see Zulema Pastanis at some point, says Justin Lum. Thank y'all for the support. Thank all the Rays on here. Again, thank y'all because there's been some increased activity. It's usually just us, the Rays. I open this channel for the Rays. I appreciate anyone that's not used to being here. But as the Rays know, when it comes to victims' family members, KJ has met some of the victims' family members. I love them dearly. I just absolutely thank all the Rays on here for understanding that we're in a situation now where we've got some ignorant ass people out here in the world. Oh, thank you, Curly Shirley. Kathy Beanie says, praying for the families and victims. Bless you, KJ. We cried for these victims, says Maria P. Private Eye, I love you being a Ray. Yeah, Grammy B, thank you for being here. You're doing a good job. One bad apple doesn't spoil the whole bunch. That's what my grandmother used to say. Oh, maybe one day I'm going to be a grandmother, y'all. Y'all think I might have grandkids one day? I've been praying so hard for it. We're in a 15-minute break, y'all. Zulema's coming up. Oh, Jen P, that's very sweet. Yes, Kathleen Curtis. God bless us, everyone. Uh, Jodif, Texas says, I love my grandkids. I hope you have some soon. Oh, Beverly's going to be a double Grammy. Oh, Rusted Knight's going to let me borrow their grandkids there. Well, that'd be nice. I could spoil them. That's what I want to do. I know, Nana. I know. I should rise above these things. I should. Absolutely. I get it. Jet Set Jay says, I'm off the bus and out of the grocery store and back home. So now I can laugh out loud or scream if I need to. Good one. You're welcome, Solara Sky. That's a pretty YouTube name, by the way. Oh, well, Maria P. I'm 52 years old. I don't think I could be a granddaughter. I think we'd maybe be sisters or something. Oh, Karen Byron's expecting the fifth grandchild there. Winnie Lowe, White Eagle says, my mom says she loves me, but she loves her grandkids so much more. LOL. Oh, Cowboy Fast Draw Miss E is praying for my son Andrew. I've got 3 sons, ages 23, 30, and 32. None of them are married. They're dating, but they're out there in the world doing what they do, working and all that. Joe Paul says you could always adopt Phoebe. Her mom is a bit tied up. That's cute. That's cute. Thank you, Joseph, Texas. I love my boys. Kate Sullivan Studio says, I'm off to the grocery store. Everyone has to believe in something. I believe I'll have a lager and lime, says Andrew F. I'll tell you what, I could believe in something like that. It's the weekend, y'all. It's the weekend. I'm waiting on them to come back, y'all. Okay, I'm watching my 3. Brand Marshall says, I'm watching my 3-year-old grandson right now and still can't tell them apart. Amazing Lynn says, TGIF, everyone. Garrett Smith also represented Summer Shiplet when she spoke with Rob Wood, which that conversation almost got Rob Wood off the case. Michelle L., you're correct on that. We have a lot of people that's really kept up with this, and then some that are just now learning about it. I think it would be interesting, wouldn't it, Rays, if I mean, we know what we know, and we've researched and analyzed so much, but could you imagine being some of the people that are just now getting used to this case or introduced to it, along with these jurors that haven't heard much about it? Remember when we first started learning? Remember all the things we've been through and talked about, all the legal documents, all the things that we did, the things we found out together, the things that we cried about, the things we were angry about, the things that we were shocked about. How many times did all of us say, just when you think you've heard it all, something else would come about? All around idea says you can take my 5 grandsons, KJ. Well, I would absolutely spoil them rotten. I would. I definitely would. Oh, you're welcome, Gene P. I will, J. Blake. Yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it, Kate Sullivan? Tylee and Lori didn't get along very well. You know, when you get up in those teen years, you start to get, You try to figure out who you are and all that. I can only look at when I was a teenager. Me and my mother butted heads plenty of times. It's so sad, really, to think about that Tylee will never go on to get married, have children, or even just to go off to college and be on her own if that's what she chose to do. She doesn't have any choices now. Lori took that away from her. And not only did Lori take those choices away from Tylee in her life, she also took Tylee's money. Because, see, that's really what Lori was all about. Kara McAllister says that she is still, she's 53 and she's still waiting for grandkids. So I don't feel so bad, y'all. Yeah, Kathy Benya, they are. There are a lot of answers that we were wanting through all this 2 years, and they're starting to be answered. Jax Gustafson says, I have 5 teenage granddaughters. They are sassy, but great girls. I'll tell you what. I'd give anything if my son would just come home. One of them will come home and say, Mama, I found the girl of my dreams. I'd do that. I'd be so happy. I'd be so happy. You know, they got to be young men, you know, getting used to being on their own as a man. I get that. But sometimes I think about them, and they're adults now, obviously, and I think they're going home by themselves. And this mother part of me is thinking they're all alone, but they're happy. They're happy guys. They just haven't found, I guess, who they want. And what's kind of scary about it is there's this thing about that a young man will look for someone that's like their mother. I don't want them to find anyone like me. I want them to find somebody who's more, you know, soft-spoken and just a better person than me. I'm not dogging myself out, but I know there's a lot of room for improvement on my part. Justin Lum posts that he says, here's Zulema in April of 2021 interviewing with Rexburg PD. Next to her is Garrett Smith, her personal attorney. And as many of y'all remember, she did come in there. She began to act like the only time she really started to come forth in terms of her involvement in all this is when they started presenting things to her. She first would act like I don't know and all that. And then they would present to her actual text messages with Lori or Chad or Alex or all this stuff. And then she would start to come clean. That was something that was absolutely across the board with all of these law enforcement interviews with each of these cult members, Melanie Pulowski, Melanie Gibb, Zulema. You know, I never saw a police interview with David Warwick. And the only interview that I saw with Melanie Pulowski was one that had to do with the attempt on Brandon's life. I don't think that they were able to even, she probably did not give a police interview about this case. She probably was being protected by her attorney and wasn't speaking to police. She, of course, Zulema, Melanie Pulowski, along with Melanie Gibb, David Warwick, Ian, which is Melanie Pulowski's husband, they were all on the grand jury list. And they were supposedly supposed to testify. For those that are new to this case, if you want to watch the full police interrogation of Zulema, which was Alex Cox's widow, you can find it on YouTube. All you have to do is put in Zulema's police interview, and it'll pop right up. I'm telling you what, for those that want to catch up, you will be absolutely floored at these police interviews. Yeah, Michelle L. Of all there, Zulema's was the strangest. And just to give y'all an idea, I don't know if it's going to come out in testimony. I don't want to be a spoiler for people on here that are outside of the Rays. The Rays are the ones that know what the hell's from the first day on. We've studied it all. The bottom line is that in her interview, she talks about y'all. Her and Alex getting married in Las Vegas on November 28th of 2019. She tells the police that Alex went to the store and got this drop cloth and brought it back to their honeymoon suite, and he put it on the bed. Now, Alex Cox was supposed to be licensed as a massage therapist, but Zulema in her interview starts telling police that he started giving her a massage, and she said she felt so drowsy. To make a long story short on it, she tried to say to the police that maybe Alex was trying to kill her. And I was like, you know what? Y'all were bumping and grinding. Y'all were slapping on the baby oil. He probably wore your ass out, Zulema. I mean, she says at one point that Alex was in the bathroom and she was half in and half out, and she could hear him in the bathroom. Y'all don't want me to go further on that, although the Rays know what I have described in the past. So anyway, she's a crazy woman. And this goes back again, y'all, to this whole idea that the state of Idaho is going to have these cult members as their witnesses. Obviously, this must not harm the situation much, because you got Wimpy, the Jiffy Burger boy. He had so many opportunities to go at Melanie Gibb over all kinds of things, and things that we wanted answers to. We wanted to hear Melanie Gibb explain why Melanie Gibb. Thomas should have said, why Melanie Gibb? Why did you say on your direct examination that you were going back and forth from Tylee's room to JJ's room to see David Warwick, when you said in your police interview that you slept with David Warwick that night on a mattress on the floor? I mean, he had so many things he could have done, but he didn't. And I wanted to hear her give an explanation. Thank you, Red Squirrel. Jay Blake says he wasn't going to kill her. She just wanted to be on the other side with the police. Yeah, that's a good point. She probably just told him that. And she said, I just thought it was so strange that Lori gave me her $1,000 scissors. What is she trying to do? Throw a red herring out here? Was it significant that Lori gave Zulema those scissors, those hairdressing scissors worth $1,000? And she talks about, well, I don't know how she got on the airplane with those scissors and all that. It's almost like she's trying to distance herself when she was smack dab in the middle of it, y'all. Smack dab in the middle of it. She was the earthquake fire woman. Well, I think it's been more than 15 minutes, y'all, and it's really starting to bug me. Okay, Nate Eaton says, Zulema Pastinas was married to Alex Cox for only 2 weeks before he died. Here's a story I did about her police interview. Zulema was close friends with Lori, Melanie Gibb, and the others in their group. And some of y'all believe they've got, actually, you can go on YouTube, for those that don't know, the 911 call where Zulema's son finds Alex Cox on the bathroom floor. Zulema shows up a few minutes later. Some of y'all believe she helped him along, if you know what I mean. I mean, it makes sense, don't it, y'all? Think about that patriarchal blessing that Chad gave Alex a couple of weeks before his death. And not to mention, he also talked to Alex on the phone that day before he died. The bottom line is that patriarchal blessing, according to Nate Eaton, who is in LDS, says that's supposed to be something that speaks about how you're going to do all these things in the future, and it's something beautiful and all that. Why in the hell was Chad Daybell crying It was almost like last rites. The bottom line is Zulema, she is nefarious, but she is a state's witness, and maybe we'll see something more than what we already know. But a lot of this, I think the Rays and I, we've learned some new stuff that we didn't know. Not much, though. There are a lot of things in this that we've already been well aware of in the case of Lori and Chad Daybell. Yeah, it does, Grammy B. It was so creepy. And it just sounded really scary to me. It was something out of a horror movie, if you really want to know the truth. And this is just my perspective. It's scary. It's almost like you don't really want to continue to listen to it. Many people that were listening to it last night on Nate Eaton's live stream there were saying, I'm going to have to take a shower after this. I mean, there were people on there going, yuck, and all of that. I mean, it's just, and then Lori was on there saying amen. She was taking part in it. It's crazy. Good morning, Little Bronze. Amazing Lynn says, I knew there would be evidence and facts we didn't know until this week. Just becomes more and more bizarre. It is. And again, this has everything to do with these jury members and what they're having to take in. I mean, we're talking about, this is the 5th day. They've already talked to this Detective Duncan about this crazy stuff that they're texting back and forth. Lori's saying, I'm still going to get the $4,000. You got Lori and Zulema texting and bombing each other back and forth on getting rid of Hiplos. And now, what do we got next? We got this crazy ass Zulema coming up. These jurors must be mind boggled about all of this. Okay. Court is back in session. Rachel Smith calls on Zulema Pastanis. And thank you. I forgot who. Oh, yeah. Daughter of Scotland. And who else alerted me? Somebody else in here did, y'all. I thank y'all for doing that. Y'all know how I get. I just go off on these tangents. So Zulema's coming to the stand. Goodwill Squatter says, ooh, let's do this. Amazing Lynn says, oh, goody. Renee says, here we go, y'all. Oh, yeah, you're right, Catherine. Those jurors are not going to be the same after this, especially seeing the graphic photos. Okay, Lori is watching Zulema walk in, y'all. They have not seen each other since 2019. Diana Hanna says, oh my God, we've had 3 years to digest all of this. I couldn't have said that better. So Zulema is taking the stand and Smith will have direct questioning. So Rachel Smith, the attorney from Missouri who has all this death penalty, she's an excellent attorney. She is going to be handling Zulema's testimony. Zulema is called to the stand. She's wearing a gray skirt with a matching suit coat and white high heels. I want to say something, but I'm not going to. We'll just wait. I'm Mrs. Whitesickle. I'm Mrs. Snow. I'm Mrs. Zulema. I'm Mr. Volcano Below. Could you see her doing a tap dance, y'all? Oh, goodness. These people, they're all characters. I'm telling you. Y'all know I've tried these stupid little skits of mine just to try to encapsulate them. Private Eye says, I love that song. Y'all know that was the Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Batman movie or something. He was Arnold Schwarzenegger was Mr. Freeze, but I changed the words a little bit. Y'all know how I get. Okay, Rachel Smith is questioning Zulema. And Zulema lives in Gilbert, Arizona. Zulema says she met Lori in early fall of 2018 at Melanie Gibbs' house. Melanie was having a meeting at her house, and she invited Zulema to come and see Lori speak. And for those of you that don't know this, there's actually a recording on YouTube where it tells in there Lori, she gets up in front of all these people in Melanie Gibbs' home. It's called an in-home meeting. And she tells everyone that she told a bishop in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that if he didn't give her a temple recommend, this is Lori speaking, that she was going to murder somebody. She goes on to talk about in this meeting that she was the warrior beyond the millennia, that she was on equal footing with men, and she talks about her relationship with Jesus Christ and all of this stuff. And this is where Zulema says she met Lori. It is crazy, y'all. You've got to go. If you don't know about it, all the Rays on here do, but any of the rest of y'all, go on YouTube, type in Lori Daybell at Melanie Gibbs' house. Zulema and Melanie met at a church and were in the same ward when Zulema met Lori at Melanie's house. Lori testified that angels had visited her, including the angel Moroni, and she was a personal witness of Jesus Christ. Rachel Smith is questioning Zulema, and Melanie was having a meeting at her house, and she invited Zulema to come and see Lori speak. I think I said that, but I'm just re-emphasizing it. Zulema says when someone is getting visitations from heavenly beings, it would mean this person has a very high spiritual standing, is very righteous, and is spiritually above other people. And so when Lori says that she was getting visitations from higher spiritual heavenly beings, Zulema is saying that this person is better than other people. So see, Lori can spread her legs being married to Charles Vallow and let Chad take a dive in there. Lori can lie through her teeth. Lori can do all of these bad behaviors. But Lori gets visited by these heavenly beings because Lori has a high standing, don't you know? A high spiritual standing. Me too, Jen P. I'd love to see the look on the juror's face. Zulema says that Lori spoke about having visitations with angels and that she was visited by Moroni, who gave her instructions. Smith wants to clarify, what did this mean to Zulema? Zulema says that someone's getting visitations from heavenly beings, then this person is very righteous and just spiritually above other people. Zulema says a witness to Jesus Christ means having a personal physical conversation with Jesus Christ. She says Lori made this testimony that this had happened to her. Oh, it's a crock of crap, y'all. Ain't no way. No way. She was speaking to either demons or Satan himself. Zulema says it was significant when Lori said she was a witness of Jesus Christ, because it means Lori would have seen Jesus, and this would be the highest spiritual experience a person could have. Lori said angels put names in the computer for her to take to the temple. Zulema says she believed Lori. Zulema got Lori's phone number, And then they took a trip to St. George, Utah for the conference. And y'all know this conference was where Lori met that fat ass chin. Yeah, Beverly, let's go cray cray. Oh my gosh. Right, Sarah Schultz. Yeah, a rowing to you. Chad had 3 near-death experiences. Zulema's the earthbender, says Stella F. Why didn't she ask God if Lori saw that instead of taking it at her word, says Janelle Murphy. Zulema says during the trip to St. George, they sat next to each other in the car and their friendship developed. The conference was for preparing a people, a conference to teach you how to be a better prepared for anything that may happen, disasters, etc., as well as preparing for the second coming of Jesus Christ. And does anybody want to tell me why Melanie Gibb testified yesterday that she wasn't sure who all was in that car with her? Why didn't she say Zulema was in there with her? Huh? Melanie Gibb is such a crock, I'm telling you. Hi, Roxy. A trip to St. George. Smith asked about Zulema setting up a meeting with Lori. Zulema says it was an acquaintance that became a friendship. This trip to St. George was for the Preparing a People conference. Zulema says the conference helps you to prepare for disasters and the second coming of Jesus Christ. Zulema had met Chad Daybell at a prior conference, and she saw him again at the St. George event. Zulema does not think Lori knew Chad before the conference. Don't y'all find it interesting that Melanie Gibb and Zulema both had met Chad Daybell before meeting Lori? And yet they're all together. And also, for those that know this, Jason Mao introduces Melanie Gibb to Lori. Think about that. Now Smith is asking Zulema about Lori Vallow meeting Chad Daybell at the conference. How did the conference go for Zulema? She says she listened to speakers and looked at presentations, spoke to Chad a couple of times. Zulema says Lori spent a lot of time at Chad's table during the conference. They were talking with each other, and Lori was very flirtatious, giggly, and putting the moves on him, says Zulema. Yeah, you're right about that. You are right about that. It's almost, to me, and this is just my opinion, it's like a hooker on the corner, spreading her legs so that people can flick nickels there. That's what I think it looks like. Y'all know, I've gotten to this point where I just, Zulema says Lori told her she would stay at Chad's table and help him sell all his books. The group even helped him pack up his table. He had 1 box of books left. The group consisted of Zulema, Lori, Melanie, and 2 other ladies. Could those two other ladies be any of these casting witches? Wonder. Lori said that she was going to stay at Chad's table until she sold all of his books for him. She stayed at the table a lot. Zulema says at the end of the conference, they helped Chad pack up his table and he only had one box of books left. They loaded it up in his car and then Chad left. And as many of y'all remember, Chad in his smutty novel said that when he was loading his car there, he hugged Lori and he said he brushed up against her breast. Oh yeah, y'all. That's very, very innocent and godly, isn't it? Give me a break. Give me a break. Lori might have helped Chad Daybell sell books, but she was selling herself, y'all. Make no mistake, that hooker. Lori was driving, and she wanted Zulema and Melanie to search scriptures on who James the Less was. Who is James the Less? Zulema says he was one of Jesus's apostles. Later, Zulema found out that Chad said to Lori that they were married as James and Elena in another life. Now, isn't that special? This, again, has to do with Chad's smutty novel. For those that are new to this, you want to damn have the hair on the back of your neck stand straight up? You can look it up online. It's on East Idaho News, and you can Google it as well. Look at it. It's Chad's novel to Lori. Y'all, it's graphic. He talks about everything from all the things they did together. It's what I would consider soft porn. As Smith asks a question, Lori looked over at her attorney and says something with a smile. Yeah, she probably looked over and told John Thomas, "Oh, the good old days. Oh, it was so sensual. It was so good. Ah." Oh, Lord. Lori drove their car back with Melanie Gibbons Zulema in the back seat. Lori was asking the women to look up scriptures about James the Less. Chad had told Lori in a previous life they'd been married to each other, and he had been James the Less, and she was his wife Elena. Lori had Zulema and Melanie look up scriptures in the Doctrine and Covenants about the 144,000 people who will usher in the return of Jesus. In court, Lori is attentively listening as Zulema testifies. J. Blake. I don't think Bubba's gonna turn Chad down. I think Bubba's got a soft spot for Chad. And I think that soft spot's when he bends him over. Oh, goodness. Oh. You got to wonder what's going on in Lori's mind. You really do. Again, Lori, she's sitting there as Zulema's testifying. She's smiling. Make no mistake, y'all. These jurors are looking at Lori. They're looking at her. Smith asks if photos were taken at the conference. Zulema says yes. Smith is ready to admit 3 exhibits as evidence. Now, this is interesting because we've heard all about this St. George conference, y'all, where Chad and Lori met and all this stuff went down. Now, Zulema is confirming that there were photos taken. I can only surmise. I'm assuming, Lori's probably standing there with Chad, taking a picture with him. But there are 3 exhibits that the state wants to enter into evidence. Lori wants a piece of Jiffy, RDNAC. Tina Reddington, yeah, you're right. This case isn't funny. But as I've always said, when it comes to these cult members, I think they're damn stupid. I think they're ignorant people. I do. And this is my way. I'm going to damn deal with it my way. Everybody else can deal with it theirs. Yeah, Cindy, you're right. They did say James the Just. What's the difference between James the Just and James the Less? T. Lemon says, I'm sure Chud pictured them as sister wives. The exhibits are photos. 2 taken at Preparing a People conferences in St. George, and 1 is taken at a conference in Boise. Illegally Blonde says it's so ridiculous. It is funny and crazy. Again, y'all, just to let you know, and people that's known me for 2 years, I take this case very seriously. I do. My heart is broken for these families, and for the victims. But when it comes to these stupid people, what am I supposed to stay angry and not laugh at them? I can tell you right now, I'm going to laugh my ass off when Lori gets sent to prison, and Chad Daybell does as well. Smith is having exhibits shown to Zulema. The group of images Zulema confirms are pictures taken at Preparing a People conference in St. George and another in Boise. SQ, I would like to go to the sentencing in Boise. And if you were there, if you're a Ray, if you're not a Ray, I'd give you a great big hug. Everybody's been so good to me this last 2 years. There's no way I'm ever going to be able to repay that to all of y'all, all the Rays on here. Y'all saw me from the beginning. Y'all saw me trip over myself. I trip over myself today. But y'all accept me for who I am, and you don't judge me, and I appreciate that. So do we see Chad joining the Aryan Brotherhood then? Come on, Nate, Justin. Thank you, Maria P. Thank you, CC Johnson 67. Thank you, Little Bronze. Thank you, Carol M. Roxy, I'm glad you're here. Thank you, Willie Williams. Diana Burnsthorne says 666 shades of Lori and Chad. Love you, Carolyn. Hey, Sugarbutt Starburst, sorry. See, I do trip over myself. Doing the best I can, y'all. This is not at all. When I opened this channel, this wasn't what I thought was going to happen. I thought we were going to see cameras in the courtroom. This is what we're having to deal with. Okay, so Judge Boyce says yes, they may be published, these photos. We see a photo of 5 women at the conference. Zulema points out an author sitting down, holding Zulema's hand. Melody Gibb is standing up, and a woman named Michelle. Thank you, Jody. This channel does not monetize. This channel is not a show. This channel has been opened up for the Rays, Research Analysis, and You. The next exhibit is a photo of Chad Daybell wearing a white collared shirt, red tie, sitting in between 4 women. And y'all know he had a Woody. You know he did. You know, he's got that red tie since he's been at his Chad's preliminary hearing and all these other damn hearings. One minute it's a red tie, the next it's a blue tie. Chad Daybell is a horn dog. Everybody knows there is evidence out there that he was a freaking womanizer. And it wasn't the first time that Chad Daybell told a woman, I've been married to you in a different life. That was his pickup line. Just so he could get him some. And he didn't give a rat's ass about Tammy. She bears his children for him. She cleans his house. She does his laundry. She cooks his meal. She works a full-time job. And that son of a bitch does this to her. Zulema is standing on the far right next to Chad Daybell on her left. Melanie Gibb is on the left of Chad, then Lori, and another woman on the end. Now, isn't that special? Yeah, Little Bronze, he's worse than a Chris Watts. And Chris Watts is bad as it gets. Pure psychopath, pure evil narcissism through and through. They should have took Chris Watts and shoved his body in a dang huge vat of oil. They should do to these people what they do to other people. That's what they should do. No, Sugarbutt Starbust, they're looking at photos that have been entered into evidence of Chad Daybell and these other women from St. George and the Preparing a People Conference. Yeah, you're right, Janet Turnmeyer. Make no mistake, y'all. Lori went to that conference. She had it on her mind. I'm going to get him, and I'm just going to get him. That's what Lori wanted. She was going to do whatever it took. Just as Lindsay Blake's opening statement is, clear as crystal. She wanted something, she'd move everyone and anything out of the way for it. Sex, money, and power. After the St. George's conference, Zulema says she saw Lori at a Preparing a People conference in Mesa, Arizona. Chad Daybell was there with his table. Lori had been ghosting Zulema, so they had not spoken in a while. And I'm assuming ghosting means she was not really talking to Zulema very much. Like Zulema wanted to talk to her, but Lori was ghosting her. Zulema went to chat with Chad and Lori. With Chad, and Lori approached, very sweet, and invited her to come to her house for a small gathering after the conference. Lori was jealous of any woman. All the women on here, Lori would have been jealous of you, me, any woman. She was so jealous of other women. She was jealous of her own damn daughter. Make no mistake. But when Zulema saw Lori at the conference, she said she was invited by Lori to stay at her house for a gathering after the conference. Zulema says she told Charles to go somewhere so people could stay at the house for the conference. Can you believe that? Lori tells Charles Vallow, the one who's going out, providing this great big beautiful home and a pool, the one busting his ass. Lori tells Charles, don't be here this weekend. That shows you how shallow, inconsiderate Lori is. Who stayed over at Lori's? Zulema says these four did. Audrey, and I guess that's Audrey Bartario, Serena Sharp, Chad Daybell, an artist who was at the conference. So she doesn't give names on who this artist was. Smith continues to ask questions about the event. Zulema is having trouble recalling some info. Now, don't y'all find that interesting? Melanie Gibb yesterday, on and off through her own testimony, who's had all this time to prepare her testimony, saying, I forget, I don't recall, and now you got Zulema doing the same damn shit. Zulema wasn't going to go to Lori's house, but Chad said he really wanted her to go because Chad wanted to give Zulema a blessing. Y'all think Chad gave Zulema her blessing and he was in tears again? Oh, Zuzu, I give you this blessing that you will create volcanoes, earth and fire. You will do the earthquakes for me, Zuzu. Give me a break. Zulema says a blessing is given by someone who holds the priesthood, and they receive inspiration, words of comfort or encouragement, and convey those words to the person receiving the blessing. Did anybody at all who heard Chad's blessing to Alex hear anything about inspiration or words of comfort or encouragement? All I heard was Chad crying and sniffling and Lori saying amen, knowing good and damn well Alex was on his way out. Zulema ended up going to Lori's house. Some other women were there along with Chad and Alex Cox, Lori's brother. And just for context, y'all, Alex Cox grew up in a home where Barry would take off to Mexico and do his thing with the senoritas. So Alex, he probably, he probably was taken after good old Dad Barry. Smith asked Zulema about what a blessing means at the Mesa Preparing a People conference. Zulema says Chad told her that he would give her a blessing if she went to Lori's home. Interesting, is it not? It was Chad Daybell that wanted Zulema there. And remember this, folks. Zulema and Melanie Gibb knew Chad Daybell before Lori did. So Chad was moving things around to get everyone together because he was homing in. He had designs on Lori. He had a big old Woody for Lori. Zulema describes going out to the backyard with Lori and Chad to talk. Rachel Smith asks Zulema what did they go out there to talk about? And Zulema says, I don't remember what we were talking about. She was playing basketball and asked Chad to play basketball with her. Zulema says she felt awkward. Isn't that interesting, y'all? They don't remember what they talk about. Get for real. They're probably back there working it all out. You've got these special powers, Zulema. I give you this blessing. And Lori, you need to keep an eye on Lori. You're going to protect her from Hiplos. Marilyn, I don't think anybody would want to hear me in court. They'd have to throw my ass out. Zulema says she felt like a third wheel and noticed Lori was flirting with Chad. Well, I'm so surprised that Lori and Zulema didn't take Chad upstairs and do the double team on him, you know? Get for real. Seems to me that Zulema and Melanie Gibb, both, they had a thing for Chad Daybell, but Chad wanted Lori, don't you know? Why would Zulema feel like a third wheel? And let's just keep in mind, Zulema knows that Lori is married. Zulema knows that Chad is married. These people were swingers. But, you know, you think about it, most cults do have that kind of mentality. Zulema says she felt like a third wheel. Lori was being flirtatious with Chad, and it made Zulema uncomfortable, y'all. Zulema was uncomfortable that Lori was flirting with Chad, but she didn't have a problem with them scurrying around in hotel rooms and all that other stuff. Chad said he was going to go inside with Zulema, and Lori said something like, Why? Why are you scared of me? And so they stayed outside a little longer. So Lori thought Zulema was scared of her. I'll tell you what, I would be scared of Lori. If I saw Lori down, not that I couldn't take her, but if I saw her or Chad walking down a dang alleyway, my ass would be in fight or flight mode. Chad ended up giving Zulema a blessing. During the blessing, he told her she was a very special person. She was going to do some amazing things in the future, and he was grateful to know her. The blessing was full of a lot of praise, and Lori was present for the blessing. Yeah, that's where they start to stroke these cult members' egos. This is all about people wanting to be like Melanie Gibb. I just want to feel so special. I want to have a purpose in my life. Give me a break. Yeah, it does. Miss Frisco win. It does go slow, but this is what we've got. The only other option that any of us have is to wait until the audio is released tonight. Or we ourselves, all of us, everyone on this channel, can sit down just as KJ's doing and going back and forth, back and forth. It is very monotonous, but I'm doing this for the Rays. The Rays were there for me. I'm gonna be there for them. After the conference, Melanie continued to see Melanie Gibb at church. Zulema says she used to visit Melanie Gibb a lot, and there was a meeting with Chad, Lori, and Zulema at Melanie Gibb's house. Chad came to record a podcast with Lori and Melanie Gibb, and many of us have heard this stupid podcast. You can find it on YouTube. You're welcome, Charming Frock. Katara, RD, and AC, all of y'all, the Weird Mom. Hey, the Weird Mom. How you doing? Thank you, Diane McDonald. Thank you, Goodwill Squatter. Thank you, Mom in the Shoe. Thank you, Marilyn. That's very kind of y'all. Can y'all believe I'm doing this? Can y'all believe this is how it's ended up for all of us that have been through all of this for all this time? Okay, how about this, y'all? During his visit, Chad said He wanted Zulema to meet him, Lori and Melanie Gibb, for lunch at Firebirds in Gilbert. Chad told Zulema he had information to give her about her prior lives and probations. Well, isn't that special? Their prior lives and probations. Thank you, Catherine. I don't know how to say that last part, but you know who you are. So they all meet at Firebirds and Gilbert's, y'all, to eat. These so-called translated beings, or becoming translated. When they had lunch, Zulema says Chad told her he wanted to give her some information, but Chad and Lori didn't want Melanie Gibb to know. Chad called Zulema later what her prior lives had been. Zulema says he told her about his light and dark rating system. Now, this is interesting, y'all, because this is Zulema's testimony that Chad and Lori wanted to tell Zulema this stuff, but they didn't want Melanie Gibb to know about this. If that's the case, then why is it Melanie Gibb why is she going on the stand yesterday knowing every damn thing there is to know about all of this rating system and all this other stuff? I guess they had to make sure to continue to feel out Melanie Gibb to make sure she was going to be a good fit for their cult. He said there was a way he rated people on the light and dark scale. He gave Zulema a light rating and said she had other lives on the earth with the times and who she was in prior lives. I wonder what Zulema's other names was. If we know Melanie Gibb was Phoebe, and I've never heard of what Zulema's other lives were. We heard about Alex. We heard about Lori being Elena and stuff. That'd be interesting. I'd like to know. Was she the chips and salsa queen from planet 49Z2? Zulema, you were on planet 4-87Z4. You were the one that created the chips and salsa. Zulema says her thoughts are jumbled and has taken several drinks of water. She has also wiped her eyes with a tissue and is sitting in silence. You think Zulema, with her use immunity, is fixing to have to say a lot of things that she don't want to say? Zulema says in a previous probation, she was Lori's daughter and was raped and killed at age 14. Can y'all believe this shit? Let me repeat this. Zulema says in her previous probation, she was Lori's daughter and was raped and killed at age 14. Her body had been dismembered by the Lamanites, and she was killed at the same time Lori was, when Lori was her mother during that life. Now, is it interesting to y'all that he's telling Zulema this shit and he's talking about dismembering a body? And didn't we all talk about nearly 2 years ago that it wouldn't surprise any of us if Chad or Alex, before murdering Tylee, I'm not saying that happened, but damn it, here it is, that he's telling Zulema her body had been dismembered. Coincidence? Maybe he's trying to get Lori and Zulema and all of them used to this idea that there's going to be some dismemberment going on. Chad the Chin, the serial killer. Isn't that incredible, y'all? To tell somebody in your other life You were raped and murdered and chopped up. Isn't that awful? And here is what I'm trying to say, y'all. Chad Daybell could have told these people whatever the hell he wanted. But he goes right into this nasty ass stuff. He could have said all of these wonderful things about Zulema or Melanie Gibb. Of course, you know, Melanie Gibb was Phoebe. She was Lori's daughter too. Wonder what that makes Melanie Pulaski. It's crazy, y'all. Again, Chad Daybell made this shit up. He made it all up. And so he decides to make up that Zulema in her past life was 14 years old when she was raped and murdered and chopped up. That tells you the mindset of a serial killer. And that is exactly what Chad Daybell is. Lori later invited Zulema to go to lunch at Firebirds. When they met, Lori made a diagram explaining how many worlds there are, how many probations one person has, and how people are either light or dark. So Lori was right there. Lori was endorsing and espousing religious beliefs that it would eventually end in murder, serial murder. Justin Lum just says in his tweet, this is a lot. You know, that's an understatement. This is a lot to take in. Zulema doesn't recall how Lori explained where she got the information, but Zulema assumed it came from Chad because he was the one who had given Zulema her light and dark scale rating. I'll tell you what, Bubba in prison is going to put his foot so far up Chad Daybell's ass, Chad's going to know what his rating is. Zulema says that Chad told her her light level was a 4.2, a very high number on the chart. And Lori's number was a 4.3, and y'all know it. Chad absolutely had to have Lori with the highest light rating. If he's going to get in between them legs, you know he's got to make Lori the strongest woman in the world, don't you know? Give me a break. Give me a break. Hey, Cresha's on here. I love you, Cresha. Are you not in court today? Rhonda Hale. Y'all, everyone, Cresha K. Easton was in here, I'm assuming. Yes, she's in here. Everyone needs to visit Cresha K. Easton. She has a YouTube channel called Difficult Research. Look it up on YouTube. She is the daughter of Kay and Larry Woodcock and the aunt of J.J. Vallow. And I love you, honey. I love you, Cresha. I'm so proud of you. You're so strong. Some of the Rays in here, would y'all please put in the comments the name of Cresha's YouTube channel? Please go and visit that, y'all. We all love you, Cresha. During their lunch, Lori told Zulema that Charles was possessed by a dark spirit named Garrett. She said Charles was acting different, more organized than he was before. He was a completely different person, and he looked shorter than he was before. Give me a break, y'all. I just cannot believe that Zulema is sitting there saying this, and those jurors can actually Also, y'all, Justin Lum has posted Chad Daybell's email to Lori Vallow on October 30th of 2018, featuring 2 documents, a rubric on light and dark spirits, ultimately grading Lori Vallow's family members, including her kids. And you can look at that document, y'all. You can actually Google it, and it'll come up. I'm waiting to see something from you, Cresha. Bama Cat says, hey, Cresha, how you doing? Sweetie, I'm praying for you and your family. We love you, Cresha, honey. I've been looking to see if you've, I went to see if you were still going to be doing live tweets. I had you added with Nate and Justin, but I totally understand it. No pressure. This conversation at Firebirds took place in February of 2019. Zulema kept a receipt from that lunch because that's where Lori drew the diagram. Zulema eventually turned the receipt in, and it will be admitted into evidence a bit later. I want to see what you're saying, Cresha, but yeah, Cresha K. Easton is saying, she's saying mine's just exploded. Y'all need to focus in on the comments, okay? You can go back and listen to anything I got to say. She's been in the courtroom every day. Y'all, she's got a lot to say. You need to focus in on her. What she's got to say is a hell of a lot more important than what I've got to. Okay, here we go. Zulema said while they were at the Preparing the People conference, Lori said that she and Charles were having financial difficulties. Lori said she had been the beneficiary of Joseph Ryan's $60,000 life insurance policy before he died. Now, that's something I didn't know, y'all. So Lori got $60,000 for offing Joseph Ryan, don't you know? Nobody can prove this. They closed the case on Joseph Ryan. For those interested, there's a lot of suspicious shit went on around his death. Lori put him through living hell, broke his heart, took Tylee away from him, his only child, coached Tylee into believing that her own father molested her, and that was in the children's, the Department of Children's Service report. That's not my opinion. Zulema asks to take a second. She pours herself some water, wipes her nose and eyes with a tissue. Well, I'll tell you what, Zuzu. You better be glad you got you some immunity. Because I'm going to tell you what, you're out here walking around in the world, in society, and you're crazy. Along with Melody giving the rest of them. It's just, it's just incredible what we're actually, this is only 5 days in, y'all. Lori was telling about her own childhood, not Tylee's. That's a theory, says Rainy April. Marilyn Landis says a lawyer of Lori's even died. Goodwill Squatter says this is her first marriage, correct? Who? Zulema's first marriage? Or are you talking about Joseph Ryan? No, Lori had been married 2 other times before Joseph Ryan. Then she married Charles Vallow. Then she murders Charles Vallow and Joseph Ryan, in my opinion. And then she marries Chad Daybell. So Lori's had 5 husbands. And this is a woman who's supposed to be Miss Holier Than Thou. Make no mistake, y'all. I've been divorced and remarried. I don't mean there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying the bottom line is Lori is an evil black widow, in my opinion. Zulema says Lori told her she had slept with Charles twice, not knowing he was possessed. Lori later told Zulema that towards the end of March, Lori wanted a group of women to meet so Lori could show them and teach them some things. So Lori's telling Zulema, hey, I've had sex with Charles, but I didn't know at the time that he was possessed. So Lori's telling Zulema, I slept with the evil Ned Schneider. Give me a break. And this is after Chad lays it in Zulema's lap that she, in her previous life, had been raped and murdered and dismembered. You talking about serious grooming and verbal abuse. Sick. Andrew F. says, apparently Lori can fit them all in. Oh, I can tell you what. Lori's been on all these planets. I guarantee y'all. I guarantee you all the planets could fit inside of her, if you know what I mean. Alex was their fall guy, but Lori and Chad are the church's fall guys. Big fish eats little fish yet again. It's not their own cult, says Crush K. Easton of Difficult Research. And for those that don't know who Crush K. Easton is on Difficult Research, she's got one hell of a catalog. You could absolutely get floored, jaw-dropping, to go to her channel and look at all that. You would absolutely be amazed at this research that Crush has done. So there you go. Stella F. says Zulema herself was abused as a child. So where they play on it. What they do is they find out a little bit about you and then they play on that. Carol M., I do like that song from Apologize. I do. I don't know if I'll be able to do it because they've already tried to get on me for playing music on this channel. It's not like I'm making money or anything like that. All my videos get taken off of here. I take them off so that the ads don't run. When I say this channel doesn't monetize, I'm not just talking about me benefiting. I'm talking about I don't want to see them putting ads on anything on here so that they're not making money. The women met at Zulema's house at the end of March. This is Nicole Earl, Christina Atwood, Serena Sharp, Melanie Gibb, Lori, and Zulema were there. Lori had a whiteboard and drew the same diagrams she had at the restaurant. Lori taught about multiple probations and the light and dark scale. Lori gave Zulema a sticky note with her prior lives, and all the other women received theirs too. Lori told the women they needed to cast out the demon from Charles and said they needed to do a casting on him. Y'all, these people, they have no life. They have no life. They don't work for a living. They don't damn bring home the bacon. They don't do nothing but sit around and make this shit up off the top of their head. Really? Harley 62. I mean, has anyone heard of any of these people working? Oh, I know Chad was going from conference to conference to try to sell his stupid books. Somebody tell me what Zulema did for a living. We know she was some kind of health coach or some kind of whatever at some time, but damn. From what we've heard from Melanie, Gibbs, Zulema, and Brandon, people really looked up to Lori, followed her, and believed what she was teaching. So this whole damn thing that it was all Chad. Chad was doing this to Lori. Give me a break. Lori was already, I told y'all this yesterday, Lori was already fertile. She'd already been listening to this crazy ass stuff of Julie Rowe and Mike Shroud. Y'all want to know about that shit? Go to Difficult Research. Cresha K. Easton. She's got the truth. Maria McCaffrey says Zuzu was a professional cuddler. Oh, she was a snuggler, Cresha. Zuzu wanted to snuggle with anyone that would give her money. Sounds more like prostitution to me. Hey, Cresha, just to let you know, honey, I'm proud of you. And in so being so proud of you as I am, I'm going to smoke a cigarette in your honor. All right? And because I honor you as I smoke this cigarette, I want you to know, Cresha K. Easton, that this is a damn good cigarette right now. Okay, good amount of jurors look to be taking notes, absorbing all of this terminology, demons, dark spirits, and castings. Little Bronze. Light them up if you got them, says Carol M. I've got to, real quick, y'all, I've got to tell y'all this. What did the big chimney say to the little chimney? You're too young to smoke. Oh, it was so stale. It was stale. I should have never told it. Okay, and just so y'all know, for the ones that hadn't been following this case for very long, Fox10Phoenix.com has a full story broke down on the past lives of Lori and Chad and Zuzu and Melanie Gibb and David Warwick and all of them. You want to and get caught up on this shit? All us Rays on here, we all know what the heck all this is about. It's absolutely crazy. Crazy. Daughter Scholar says, what's green and goes boing boing? Come on now. What's green and goes boing boing? Come on, Daughter of Scotland, tell me what it is. What is green and goes boing boing? Andrew Neff is like, wait, what? What is green and goes boing boing? Chad's gherkin? Spring cabbage, says Daughter of Scotland. Get it? Chad's gherkin and spring cabbage. A frog. Oh, Chad and his jerking gherkin. This casting that Zulima's telling the jurors and everyone in the courtroom about was to get rid of Garrett, the evil spirit that was possessing Charles. Zulima remembers back to the original lunch at Firebirds when Lori told her she and Charles had been arguing. Lori said she and Charles separated in March, and she took away Charles's pickup, keys, and all of his stuff. Zulima said Melanie Gibb And the other ladies in the group knew Lori and Charles were separated. Lori told everyone she'd been in Hawaii and not living in the house with Charles. I guess Zulema fails to say that Melanie Gibb was right there. And of course, y'all know, Melanie Gibb didn't testify yesterday about how she treated Charles the way she did. No, not at all. There are a lot of things they should have called Melanie Gibb out on yesterday. But Thomas is a stupid, jiffy burger, wimpy burger boy. Hi, Empowered Angel. See? Okay. Zulema said that all the women believed what they were doing had value. Lori was very convincing and has a charming way of expressing things that they're believing. Lori had expressed before that she'd been visited by heavenly beings. If someone is telling the truth about that, I wouldn't be questioning them. I would believe they're telling the truth because I would never think that someone would lie about something as sacred as that. Give me a break. It's almost like these people, they just believed whatever they wanted to. And make no mistake, the stuff they believed was stuff that stroked them, made them feel good. Smith is asking to admit 2 photos into evidence that were taken the night of the castings. So they're taking photos, y'all, at these castings. Right, CIM. These people. And you know, hey, let's just get real. They can sit there, Melanie Gibb and Zulema, any of the other of them, can sit there and say, we wanted to believe them. They were so convincing. We just thought they were telling the truth and all that. Has it occurred to anybody that they were just as evil as Lori and Chad? And this is their way of backing up out of it and making it out to be like they're playing dumb? Give me a break. I don't believe a damn word Zulema or any of them have to say. So we are waiting for these 2 photos that were taken the night of the casting. Hopefully they'll put those up where we get a description. I'm not wandering around my desert for 40 years with anyone. Hardy and AC says Charles Manson said that stuff too. Diane Hanna says they all need matching handcuffs. Photo 1 from Zulema's house of Gibb, Serena, and Zulema. Photo 2, hold on, KCL. Oh, goodness. Second photo shows Zulema with Melanie Gibb and Serena Sharp standing like warriors with their hands out, y'all, and their fingers shaped like guns. This was the first time Zulema had ever done a casting. Now think about that. Their arms are out and they got their hands like guns. These people are evil and absolutely sick and twisted. Sick and twisted. Photo of Zulema with Melanie Gibb and Serena Sharp. Another photo of the 3 women standing back, holding their fingers out like guns. Rachel Smith asked about the castings done at Zulema's house. There was one in March of 2019, and she doesn't remember the next one exactly. Yeah, right. Well, she's had all this damn time to get her shit down on what she's going to say. And by the way, did y'all notice that Melanie Gibbs direct and cross yesterday? Was it brought out that Melanie Gibb was at least 10 of these castings, some done over the phone on Zoom? No, it wasn't. And it gave you the impression through her testimony that she'd only done a couple of them. Diane Hannah says, I don't think there's a full brain between any of them. We should be praying. Lori, we need to pray for brain cells. Lori allegedly told Zulema that even though the group had cast out an evil spirit named Garrett, a new demon with more skill had replaced him. His name was Ned, and many of us know Ned Schneider, this bull crap. It's interesting, is it not? These people, they act like they've got all these powers and everything, but they're continuing to have to make stuff up. It's almost like they led these stupid, weak-minded people into their plan of murder. They just dressed it up. And Chad was the stupid author who wrote crappy books. But anyway, he had an imagination, obviously, because he vividly describes his near-death experiences that never happened. Zulema says at the end of the casting, Lori called Chad to verify if it worked. Chad told Lori it worked. But then later, Lori and Chad said even though the demon had been cast out, another more powerful and skillful demon named Ned had come into Charles. We love you, Crescia. We're here for you. All of us has been praying for you, thinking of you. I personally don't want to dang pressure you one way or the other. I know this has to be very difficult for you and your family. Zulema was told another casting needed to be done to get rid of Ned. This was done at Zulema's house again. Nicole, Serena, Melanie Gibb, Alex Cox, and Lori were all there. Lori and Chad originally said Alex was a first creation, meaning it was his first time on earth, and he wasn't as spiritual as other people, so certain things could not be discussed in front of him. And guess what, y'all? Doesn't that seem a little weird to y'all? That they're telling this, that this is the first time that Alex has been on the earth, but yet in Chad's blessing that we heard last night, that totally contradicts that. But it does make it clear that when they say that Alex, this was his first time and everything, and that he wasn't as spiritual as other people, to not discuss it in front of him, they didn't want to scare Alex away of their crazy ass stuff, because he was going to be their instrument of murder. That's who Chad and Lori wanted to be their instrument of murder. They had this all planned out. And they had to slowly get Alex into this mindset, because he was weak-minded as hell anyway. And so the bottom line, and it also confirms that, because Christina and Nicole Earl and all these other women, witches, they were into this crazy stuff. Then Chad and Lori said Alex had been exalted in other creations and had been on other earths multiple times. Because of this, he was now a powerful spiritual being. Zulema says Alex believed this and was very excited to find out who he was. You know what? What's interesting about this? In this life, and this is just coming from me, I've been given one life, okay? This is my belief system. And I got to make the most of this life. And it just seems to me that even if you believe that you had other lives and stuff, don't you think that you would want to make the best of the life you got instead of talking about being alive in the past or the fact that you might be alive on another planet in the future? I mean, we're talking about let's focus on today, on the life we've been given today. These people are nuts. During the second casting, everyone had a different part. Rachel Smith asked Zulema, what was Alex's part? She takes a minute to think, and then she says she believes Alex was a warrior, but she doesn't exactly remember who he was. Lori assigned everyone's role. Yeah, it was a bunch of sexual role playing, don't you know? That's really what, because even if they weren't all having sex and orgies with each other, if you're being told all this, oh, you were so exalted and you were on these other planets and all this, you know it made people creamy. You know it made them wet. I mean, let's just get real. They all wanted to hear it. It was sensual in nature. It was sexual. And they all went right to it. But ultimately, we know it wasn't like a bee going to honey. It was a fly going to shit. That's what it was. Andrew S. says, I think Alex was laying hands on Lori. After the casting, then this is talking of the second casting, Lori called Chad and was very confident that it had worked. Lori had told the group they needed to fast like Jesus did, and they could not eat until after the casting. Get for real. And these people are right there. They're wanting to take orders from that damn hussy. Yeah, that's a good Fionn Mac, Come Hill or whatever, the ex-wife of Alex. Y'all can find that on YouTube too. She said he was kinky. He was freaking kinky. And Lori and Alex was acting very sexually inappropriate to one another. Lori allegedly told Zulema that even though the group had cast out an evil spirit named Garrett, the new demon had more skill, and the focus of the prosecution's questioning and to Zulema's testimony is on how this group attempted to cast out evil spirits together at the request of Lori. So we've got Melanie Gibb giving everyone a crash course on these crazy beliefs yesterday. And now you've got Zulema giving the crash course to the jurors. It's called Castings 101. This is crazy. Lori is looking at Zulema as she testifies and doesn't show much emotion. Zulema says if someone is dark, a demon, they're considered dangerous. Alex believed this more than anyone else, Zulema says. Of course, Alex did believe this because Lori and Chad both were absolutely, they were grooming him for, to basically be the instrument of murder. Lori said that Ned had been removed, but now, after, first it was the first one, now Ned was the second one, and now an even more powerful demon had possessed Charles. And this time it was a demon expert. named Hiplos that had done the same things for hundreds of years. Give me a break. You can almost see, y'all, how they were perfecting this, I would say, mind control, brainwashing stuff on each other, basically. They were perfecting it to go from one step to the next step to the next step until they wanted to get, y'all, make no mistake, they wanted to get to the murders. Because we'd all said this in the past. If they were going to do all this damn casting, i.e. evil praying and all this crap, then why couldn't they have done that and left it at that? They had to get to the murdering. They had to get to the money, don't y'all know? Survival Julia says, I wonder if the jury thinks that Zulema is crazy. This goes back to what we discussed before this trial was here, y'all. When I talked about Lori did not have a mental health defense. And, maybe this was strategic. Maybe this wasn't about Lori didn't want people to see her as having mental health issues. But when you hear this stuff, it's almost impossible for anyone not to at least think that the jurors are saying these people are crazy. It would be different if you had a belief system and the jurors had to hear it and it didn't end in murder, serial murder of these people. But because the jurors know that this is a triple murder, they're hearing all this. And yes, they've been given jury instructions that just because someone has different beliefs than you have to stay neutral. You can't read into that anything like that. You can't leave out the fact that these people are nut jobs. Evil nut jobs. Psychopathic nut jobs. Zulema says the group did several castings on Charles Vallow. Rachel Smith asked about Alex Cox's involvement in the castings out of Hiplos. Zulema says that she cannot remember. Good point, KCL. Glad you're on top of it because I don't guess I am. Lori said this was a powerful demon and the castings were not working. And Lori said Charles moved to Texas because there were doctors to help people who were possessed by demons and they could help keep the body alive. Alex was aware of all of this, Zulema says. So Lori is lying to everybody and telling everyone that this isn't just about them trying to help Charles. She's saying that the reason Charles moved to Texas was to get some kind of professional help on the demon possession. So this made it more real to all these crazy people. And whether Alex believed Lori's lie or whether Alex knew otherwise, the fact remains Charles moved to Texas because he and Lori were split up and he wanted to be close to Larry and Kay so that they could help with JJ while Charles went to work. So Lori didn't want everyone to know that Charles had said, the hell with you, Lori. I'm moving to Texas with JJ. You can go off and do whatever the hell you want to do. She didn't want them to know that. Zulema asks Lori why she moved to Texas with Charles after all the problems she had with him. And Lori says she needed to go so she could get her finances straight. And y'all know what that means? Lori didn't have shit without Charles Vallow. Lori couldn't go out there and get a job. She's too damn busy in the backyard of Zulema's, holding her damn fingers up with guns, like they're guns in her hands, trying to have a whiteboard and be a teacher of all this crazy ass shit. She's too busy trying to run after Chad Daybell's gherkin. She went to Texas to get her finances straight. I.e., she lied to Charles and told Charles she's coming back because she was afraid that Charles Vallow would take her off that insurance policy. Lori didn't have anything other than the Social Security benefits. That wasn't enough for Lori. She had to make sure that she got back there and lied to Charles saying, let's work this out, so she could get her finances straight. She needed Charles to continue to finance her because she didn't know how to do shit but mooch off people. That's right, Jax. Lori wanted the insurance. Lori always told Zulema she had a connection with the number 711. Lori mentioned it all the time and said she had a spiritual connection with the number. Lori told Zulema it was 711 when Charles died, so his death was orchestrated by God, and Hiplos had been delivered to her and Alex. Y'all, can y'all believe that crap? Can y'all believe that crap? Lori mentioned those numbers, 711, all the time, and said she had a spiritual connection with that number. I don't know if Chad gave her that number, but Lori told Zulema this, and y'all, the plan was made. Lori and Alex ambushed Charles Vallow on 711 so that Lori could continue to promote this divine shit that she wanted all these cult members to believe. It's absolutely pathetic. KCL says Audrey Bartell will be the next witness after Zulema, I think. And y'all keep an eye on KCL. KCL's on top of this more than I am. If you don't hear it from me, you're going to hear it from KCL. And Daughter of Scotland, KCL, thank y'all so much for helping me. Lori mentioned the number 711 at the time. She had some kind of spiritual connection with the number. When Charles was killed on 711, Zulema says Lori basically believed this was set up by God. On what actually happened that day, Zulema says Lori told her she was putting JJ in Charles's car, and Lori took Charles's phone. They got into an argument, and Alex was there, so he got involved. Zulema says Alex was trying to protect his sister, and Tylee came in the middle of the fight with a bat. And make no mistake, Lori had to have a pretext to upset Charles Vallow. And Lori knew how to push buttons with Charles. She knew how to upset him. She had already probably filled Alex's head the night before when Alex shows up over there with his gun. She told Melanie Gibb that Charles is coming to kill her. And yet Lori doesn't want to call the police. Give me a break. Charles had taken the bat from Tylee and hit Alex in the back of the head with it. And I don't believe that, y'all. If he actually did it, it was him trying to save his own life. They wrestled, and then Alex got his gun and shot Charles. And I'm just going to tell y'all right now, I do not think for a second that that's what happened. I think Charles and Lori got in a fight. They went back into the house while JJ sat out in the car. Alex and Tylee were in there as well. And I think Alex ambushed Charles. He shot him once. Charles fell flat on his back on the floor. Then Alex walked right up to him and shot him again, murdering him. To this day, I just cannot understand Tylee Ryan's interview after that incident. She went right along with the plan. I still don't believe it, y'all, and I never will. If Charles would have hit Alex in the head with a bat, Alex would be dead. Yeah, I think it's T.S. Jackson 72 says, I think Charles was shot as soon as he walked in the door. I believe it. I believe it. I think Alex Cox was laying in wait. That's what I think. Alex was there and got involved in the fight. This is what Zulema's telling everyone. As Alex was trying to protect his sister, Tylee came in the middle of the fight with a baseball bat, telling Charles to leave, and Charles took the bat away from Tylee. Charles then hit Alex on the back of the head with the bat. Charles and Alex wrestled, and Alex got his gun, and he shot Charles, all according to what Lori told Zulema. Lori told Zulema certain things needed to happen before the second coming, and she needed to cleanse the earth of evil spirits. She was taking steps to usher in the second coming, and Charles's death was one of those steps. And somebody needs to jump over that banister in the courtroom right now and beat the shit out of Lori Daybell. That woman is disgusting. And I hope she has a good long longevity in Pocatello prison. Lori is sitting back, swiveling lightly back and forth. She's watching Zulema on the stand. On Lori moving, Zulema says Lori wanted to be in Arizona, but then Chad Daybell told her she needed to move to Rexburg. She packed up her house and she moved. Yeah, did Lori bring those buckets of food? No. Why, Rexburg, says Rachel Smith. Zulema says Chad told them Rexburg would be a place of refuge when other countries would invade the United States. Rexburg would be a place for soldiers and warriors to defend the area, prepared by the church for people to come and be safe. No, that's not it at all. Chad wanted his piece of ass close to him. That's what that was. Chad wanted, and Lori wanted it too. If anyone thinks that Chad convinced Lori to come to Rexburg, Idaho, they got another thing coming. She wanted Chad Daybell, and she probably lied and told Zulema that Chad told her to come to Rexburg. Lori made her way there. The serial killer that she is, along with Chad and Alex, she wanted to be close to that gherkin pickle, and he wanted his ass. That's what he wanted. She wasn't a victim, Heather. She will never be a victim. She is the predator. That's what Lori Daybell is. Yeah. And if anybody knows, Cresha K knows of difficult research, Lori did a lot of people. Lori was loose. Lori was the concubine of the century. It's just sad because really, ultimately, if you think about Charles Vallow was so loyal and so loving, and he wanted to treat Lori with respect and honor. And he was so good to her and everything. And she had to have seen that Charles Vallow had a pure heart and everything. And compared to her, she had to have known he was way better of a person than her. And it just burned her up. I just believe that, y'all. She couldn't stand it. So, y'all, it is lunch break until 12:45. I will be getting back with y'all here in 45 minutes. Cresha, I love you very much, honey. All of y'all need to go visit Cresha at Difficult Research. She's very, very brave. I love you, Cresha. I love all of y'all. Thank you, KCL, Daughter of Scotland. All the rest of y'all, I'm glad you're here. I'll be back in 45 minutes. KJ's got to get something to eat. So keep on looking.